24 The Five Shadows of Despair. Extras on the other side. Yu Yang frowned and looked at the two Uchiha Madaras, and now they seemed a little helpless. After playing against them for a long time, the two Uchiha Madara seemed to be uninjured at all, still the same as before. Damn, is that the difference? Tsunade said in a deep voice. Under the bright moonlight, the five shadows who led the five kingdoms no longer had the confidence they had before. One Uchiha Madara has already left us in a dilemma, and now there is one more, and it is simply more difficult. Gaara said, this way, it's not the way to go on. Whether it's a protracted battle or a quick battle, we will always have the disadvantage. Fifth Mizukage Trumim said softly. I see the five shadows as nothing more than that. I thought how big a wave would be. It seems that I overestimated you. Uchiha Madara grinned and said. Yu Yang blinked at Uchiha Madara. Quicksand. Gaara slapped the ground hard with one hand. The rock on which the two Uchiha Madaras stood suddenly turned into sand and fell down with a clatter. Uchiha Madara was startled and then began to fall. At this moment, a skeleton arm directly grabbed Uchiha Madara 1. Uchiha Madara 1 looked at Uchiha Madara, and his eyes flickered. Ah, you bastard, since you can still fly. Uchiha Madara 1 sneered at Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara looked as if nothing had happened. The opportunity is here, Gaara said solemnly. Terumim nodded, then jumped quickly, and said in the air, Monster Melting Technique. Dissolving Monsters Technique, combining two types of chakra, fire and earth, spit out viscous and strong corrosive, soluble and solid magma from the mouth. Can be used in a huge range. Its strength can melt Suzu. Wow! In her mouth, a cloud of liquid flew directly towards Uchiha Madara and them. Uchiha Madara looked at the mass of liquid sent towards him, and quickly put his hands together. The original form of Suzu quickly evolved into a complete Suzu. Suzu, a complete body in the state of a cloak, shaped chakra into a high-nosed Tengu with a samurai armor. With a swing of a sword, it can destroy several kilometers of land, pierce through mountains in an instant, and even rival the tailed beast in strength. Uchiha Madara controlled the complete body Suzu, and waved the sword in his hand directly, and the liquid was greeted directly by the airflow of the sword. Gaara shouted, no, hurry up and get down. Although Terumim was not directly hit by this blow, but because she was in front and was directly carried by the air current, the four shadows quickly, a beam of light swept across their backs. Rumbling, the sand behind was directly blown by the air current, and because of this blow, Gaara's quicksand storm also disappeared, and everything around him returned to its original appearance. Afterwards, Gaara and the others quickly stood up, clenched their fists, frowned, and said, damn it. Strength, the gap is too big. I'm afraid it's hard to beat. Tsunade's expression was very stiff. Terumim slowly got up. She was the one who suffered the most damage from the blow just now. Her throat was sweet, and she spat out a mouthful of bright red blood. Are you okay? Fourth Ryukage asked Terumim in front of him. Terumim shook her head and said with restraint, it's okay, it's just a slight injury. It doesn't have much impact. That's good. Tsunade said. Zero ask for flowers. It seems that it's time for them to experience despair. The corners of Uchiha Madara's mouth twitched slightly, revealing a meaningful smile. Immediately, he broke away from Suzu and Uchiha Madara, jumped to the ground, and then formed a seal with his hands. Click click. Another Suzu suddenly rises, and the shape is almost exactly the same as Uchiha Madara's, and it is also a complete Suzu. Forehead. Seeing this, Yu Yang couldn't help but start to shudder, and the group smiled bitterly. These two bastards, it's finally time to start, right? Tsunade scolded. Zero. Damn it. Gaara frowned and cursed. Come on. Fourth Ryukage shouted, and then several crescent-shaped rays of light flew towards them. The group of them began to flee quickly. Boom, boom. One after another, the crescent rays of light kept hitting the ground, and the rock debris flew around with the airflow. The surrounding was originally illuminated by the night light, and their sight was somewhat reduced. Therefore, when they were hit by some rock debris, it was in the unavoidable. After a while, Tsuchikage couldn't even open his eyes because of the injury he had suffered earlier. Watch out! Ryukage shouted, then quickly said, lightning-style armor. Lightning-style armor, by concentrating lightning-style chakra on the whole body, so that the whole body is covered with chakra and lightning, the function is to activate the body and use the lightning body, and the defense ability will also be greatly improved. Uchiha Madara manipulated Suzu, falling straight from the sky, waving his big fists, and heading towards Tsuchikage. 25 Uchiha Sasuke appears. Extras at this critical moment, Fourth Ryukage used the instant body technique, came to Tsuchikage, and tried to resist Suzu's blow with lightning-style armor. Boom! There was a loud bang, and Ryukage and Tsuchikage were instantly hit underground by this blow, and the rocks on the ground were divided into countless small rocks flying around by the impact of this blow. The sound of explosions continued to sound around, and large and small stones flew all over the sky. This situation has been going on for some time. In the end, the five shadows stood together again. At this moment, they were covered in scars, and the expressions on their faces were extremely poor. 530 is too strong. How can I defeat him? Terumi frowned and said in a deep voice. Indeed, if it goes on like this, we might be overwhelmed. Gaara added, blinking. Okay. Now it's time for you to see what you can do with Suzu. Uchiha Madara said in a deep voice. Then Suzu slowly pulled out the long sword in his hand, followed by a wave. Boom. A huge airflow appeared out of thin air, and slashed directly at them. This blow could split even mountains, and even more, not to mention the human body. If hit by this blow, obviously, it will inevitably become two halves. 5 shadows hurriedly dodged, but still couldn't dodge the powerful airflow brought about by this blow, and was directly blown up by the airflow, rolling and rubbing underground all the time, and stopped after a certain amount of drama. Forehead. The 5 shadows were immediately stunned. The gap in strength was too large, making them feel that it was a little difficult to breathe. Trembling, the 5 shadows finally couldn't help but start to tremble. At this moment, they were not facing one such monster, but two. Every time Suzu took a step, the ground shook violently. Wasting too much time with you guys, it's time to end it. Uchiha Madara said coldly, then he turned his head slowly, looked at the Uchiha Madara behind him, and added, you don't need to shoot. Now, look where you are. Uchiha Madara smiled slightly. Okay. I'm not happy to help you, I just want to see what the perfect world you said is like. If it wasn't for this, I would have been with my big brother long ago. Uchiha Madara frowned. Kaido, the eldest brother you're talking about is the one from before? Yes, Uchiha Madara said. The ancestor of the Uchiha family. I don't know why I always want to laugh. Uchiha Madara said. It is true that he is the ancestor of Uchiha, further than you and me, that is. The era of Sage of 6 Paths. He is Indra, son of 6 Paths. After all, I want to ask you, you guys have a Senju Hashirama too? Uchiha Madara whispered. Senju Hashirama? Mentioning Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara-one's face changed dramatically, the corners of his mouth trembled slightly, and he said, I will never forget this name. Indeed, the grievance between Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama is too deep. Uchiha Madara will have blue veins erection when it comes to Senju Hashirama. Sure enough? Uchiha Madara smiled meaningfully. Okay, now is not the time to talk about this. I have to settle the matter at hand. Uchiha Madara said in a deep voice. The land of fire, Konoha village. The night was shrouded in darkness, and on a certain street, 4 people in black cloaks were walking. What the hell is going on here? Uchiha Sasuke raised his head slightly and looked at the Konoha village that was burned to ashes on the other side. He couldn't help but startled. It seems that Konoha village has also experienced something extraordinary. Orochimaru added. Half the village has been destroyed. It seems that the scale of the battle is not small. Gainshiryu said gently. Brush. Uchiha Sasuke jumped many times in a row, and finally jumped onto a high roof, glanced around, his face stiffened. There are still dozens of lights on. Is this surviving? Uchiha Sasuke muttered. It seems that Konoha is very sad this time. Orochimaru said gently. Go, Sasuke. Ghost Shiryu called out to Uchiha Sasuke on the top. 4.2 At this moment, in the Hokage office, Indra couldn't help but stand up from the chair again. His face changed slightly. This familiar chakra wave, is that kid Uchiha Madara here? The next moment, Indra quickly rejected the idea of his own. No, Uchiha Madara's chakra won't fluctuate so little, so is it Uchiha Sasuke who is so close to my chakra? Indra looked at the window and walked slowly. It seems that the current boredom can be solved. 26 Ancestor Hokage, Reincarnation Side Story Uchiha Nanga Shrine. Today, the Uchiha Nanga Shrine is dilapidated and in ruins, surrounded by assorted wooden boards. Tapping, Uchiha Sasuke and his group walked slowly, and when they reached a certain distance, Uchiha Sasuke suddenly stopped. Brush. He made a seal on his hands, and then, there was a sound of squeaking. A cuboid stone slowly floated up, and in the middle of the stone was covered with a strange incantation. It turned out that the stone at the entrance had to be opened with a technique. Gainshiryu said to Uchiha Sasuke with a shocked expression. Orochimaru walked forward slowly, looked at the dark hole under the stone, and said, Uchiha's Nanga Shrine no longer exists. Uchiha Sasuke thought about it for a while, and then one said in a deep voice, the top doesn't matter, the important thing is the bottom. Orochimaru smiled faintly. That's right. Let's go. Uchiha Sasuke said softly, then jumped for life and jumped towards the hole. Orochimaru's group quickly followed behind and jumped down one after another. In the dark basement, 2 groups of flames suddenly rose up, instantly illuminating the dark basement. On the edge of the center of the basement, there is a stone tablet, and on the left and right sides of the stone tablet are the symbols of the Uchiha family. Orochimaru slowly stepped forward and said gently, then, I'm starting. The crowd nodded. Orochimaru lifted the black robe on his body, and immediately ordered, everyone stand further away. Having said that, Uchiha Sasuke and his party moved a distance. Orochimaru put on a mask that didn't look like a ghost or a ghost, and suddenly a light blue light appeared on his body. Following that, he began to dance and shout. In the dark alley, a figure flashed by. Indra jumped onto a high roof, looked at the ruins not far away, and then smiled. It seems that they are heading in that direction. Exactly. I also went to join in the fun. After all, I was bored. After saying that, Indra jumped again and ran over quickly. Reincarnation technique. Orochimaru shouted, then slapped the ground with one hand and began to perform the technique. Immediately after hearing White Zetsu's screams, first Hokage, second Hokage, third Hokage, fourth Hokage appeared in their sight. Very good, here it is. Orochimaru grinned, then turned into a snake, ran towards the other White Zetsu suppressed by the ghost lamp Shuayu, got into White Zetsu's body, and took it for himself. The four Hokage Haki were reincarnated, and they felt it, and a sense of oppression came slowly. Is this first Hokage, Hashirama himself, known as the god of ninjas? Kaito Suzuki pointed at Senju Hashirama and asked Orochimaru. Orochimaru nodded slowly. Second Hokage, Senju Tobirama said with a look of long-out disdain. Is that the ninja called Orochimaru again? What's going on? Senju Hashirama asked. I guess it was the ghoul sealing technique that sealed us. It was unlocked, and then reincarnated us with Chengta reincarnation. Third Hokage said in a deep voice. Is it Mewtwo's reincarnation again? He actually abused the ninjutsu I created at will. Second Hokage said in a deep voice. This technique is not too difficult, but you really shouldn't have created it in the first place. Second generation. The policies you implemented and the ninjutsu you created have brought trouble to future generations, and this time it's the same again. Orochimaru said gently. Senju Tobirama was startled, then pointed at Orochimaru and said, could it be? Do you want to attack Konoha village again? No. Orochimaru gave Senju Tobirama an affirmative answer, and then continued. It's just that when we first came here, half of Konoha had turned into ruins, and only a few lights were on. After hearing Orochimaru's words, all the previous Hokage couldn't help but stunned. What did you say? Senju Tobirama asked. One side of Konoha village turned into ruins. Namikaze Minato continued. Few lights on? Third Hokage said. What the hell happened here? Senju Hashirama couldn't help asking. 530 Orochimaru shook his head slowly and said with a smile on his face. Who knows? It was like this when we came. There are some special circumstances today. Having said that, Orochimaru walked slowly to Uchiha Sasuke's side, and continued to add, at his request, I arranged a place for such a conversation. Uchiha Sasuke looked at the four Hokages expressionlessly, raised his brows, and said, I am Uchiha Sasuke, I have something to ask you Hokages. A person from Uchiha. So it is. No wonder they are not kind. Senju Tobirama said solemnly. Tobirama, I told you not to talk like that. Senju Hashirama shouted at Senju Tobirama. Senju didn't agree and retorted, it's eldest brother, you are too naive. Just then, another voice came. The Uchiha family is indeed the same as what you said, isn't it a kind of good? Everyone was stunned and looked in the direction of the voice. 27 Shocking everyone, extras. Indra walked down the last stairs and slowly walked towards them with a smile on her face. Everyone looked at Indra with a confused look, but Orochimaru's group was a little puzzled. How did this guy find this place? Normally, there are only dozens of lights on in Konoha village. When they came, there was no one in the streets and alleys, and no one was found to be following. So here comes the question. How did this guy get here? Orochimaru looked at Indra, and a myriad of reasons for his coming here flashed through his mind. Big brother look, I'm right, Uchiha is not a kind person by nature, even a random person agrees with my statement. Senju Tobirama said gently to his elder brother. Senju Hashirama gave Indra a deep look, blinked his eyes, ignored Senju Tobirama's words, and said to Indra, who are you? Originally, Indra had a guess that the system would bring Senju Hashirama's tomb here, until just after hearing what Senju Hashirama said, Indra had already concluded that he belonged to this era without a doubt. But that's fine, Indra thought to herself. Since Indra did not reply to Senju Hashirama couldn't help but ask again, by the way, who are you? Brother, this person is better than that kid Uchiha. Senju Tobirama said gently. The corners of Indra's mouth rose slightly, and then she retorted. Senju Tobirama, you are so wrong. Having said that, Indra walked towards Orochimaru and the ancestor Hokage, and then added, if the Uchiha clan are not born good, then I am the biggest demon behind the scenes. When everyone heard Indra's words, they couldn't help being stunned. What do you mean? Are you also paying attention to Konoha village? Senju Tobirama said in a deep voice. Indra smiled lightly. I'm sorry, I may have disappointed you. I have no interest in this Konoha village. At this moment, Uchiha Sasuke on the side couldn't help but said, expressionlessly, can you listen to me first? He wondered, where did this guy come from, completely disrupting his plans, and he couldn't catch a word. Indra turned her head and glanced at Uchiha Sasuke, and then a smile appeared on her face. Speaking of which, Uchiha Sasuke, when I came here, I reluctantly greeted Uzumaki Naruto twice. As for you, also know. When Uzumaki Naruto was mentioned, fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato on the side couldn't help but said, listen to you, are you a friend of Uzumaki Naruto? No, you're thinking too much. I'm here to kill him," Indra said nonchalantly. Namikaze Minato was stunned, and when he heard that someone was going to kill his son, who could still hold back, why, what did Uzumaki Naruto do wrong? Even Yokai Sasuke on the side was stunned. Originally he wanted to add a sentence, but when he heard that this man of unknown origin was going to kill Naruto, he couldn't help but put the question he wanted to ask Hokage for a while. Pressed down. No. It's not him, it's the world. Indra laughed. Looks like this kid's thoughts are dangerous, Senju Tobirama said in a deep voice with his hands folded on his chest. Do you have any misunderstandings about this world? Senju Hashirama couldn't help but asked, just at that moment. He didn't know why, since there was a familiar feeling. That feeling was originally given to him by Uchiha Madara. But just now, since he felt that the man in front of him also gave him the same feeling that Uchiha Madara gave him before. Uchiha Sasuke, you don't need to ask anymore. Konoha owes the Uchiha clan too much, and now the Uchiha clan is almost facing extinction. Don't ask questions like a woman. Just want revenge at Konoha village. Indra said slowly from the side. Like Konoha's revenge, you brat is even crazier than Uchiha. I'll take care of you myself. Senju Tobirama roared. Saying that, with an R sound, a stream of air rapidly expanded and rushed towards Indra. Senju Hashirama next to him just wanted to stop it. But the next moment, something unexpected happened to everyone. Sound. A more powerful chakra suddenly appeared, and the deterrent force directly collapsed the entire basement. Da. Bang lung, Li Hao Hao. In the blink of an eye, the basement had turned into ruins, and thick smoke slowly rose. What? Uchiha Sasuke and his party turned over the stone covering their head, and looked forward in shock. Amidst the thick smoke, a back figure appeared looming in their sight. What the hell is going on here? Gui Dengshuayu's face changed dramatically. Looks like we didn't expect it. Orochimaru smiled slightly. Ring 28 suffocating information. Extras, what just happened? Shigeru added aside. At this moment, Orochimaru's group's faces were extremely ugly, their expressions became stiff, and they were ready to fight. As long as Indra had suspicious actions against them, they would attack Indra without hesitation. As time passed, the thick dust mist slowly dissipated, and the shadow of the previous Hokage reappeared in their sight. It's just that this time is a little different from when he just appeared. The first time he was very haughty, but this time he looked a little embarrassed because the previous Hokage had no upper body at the moment, and countless things like pieces of paper were sticking to them. After a while, their disappeared upper body overlapped. But obviously, this time, the expressions on their faces were very rich, shocked, puzzled, curious, etc. With such a huge and amazing chakra outbreak, this kid is not only dangerous for thought, but also very dangerous for people. Senju Tobirama thought to himself. Fearful future generations, boy. Senju Tobirama said to Indra with a dignified expression. Ha 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 ha. Senju Hashirama suddenly burst into laughter for some reason, and then continued. Such a powerful explosive force scared me. I want to know more and more. Who the hell are you? Are you from the land of fire? Or other countries? Before Indra could speak, the sound of footsteps was heard nearby, and in the blink of an eye, Hyuga Neji and his party rushed over. La la la. Hyuga Neji and his party surrounded Indra, Orochimaru, and the Abeck shadows. When Hyuga Neji saw third Hokage, the whole person was stunned. Although he had never seen fourth generation, second generation and first generation, he had seen the rock wall, so he recognized it. What the hell is going on here? Why did the ancestor Hokage resurrect? When he noticed the eyes of the ancestors, he was stunned and added, sure enough, it is impure world reincarnation. Look at the logo they are wearing. Is it Konoha's ninja? Senju Hashirama asked Hyuga Neji gently. Hyuga Neji was stunned at first, and then said, yes. First Hokage-sama, listen to what you said. Haven't you been restrained? Senju Hashirama smiled lightly and said, it seems like this. When Hyuga Neji heard it, he was overjoyed. Originally, they had no choice but to face Indra. But now they are different. With the previous Hokages, he can feel it, and the winning rate has increased a lot. Hyuga Neji finally squeezed a smile from the corner of his mouth at this moment, and said, that's great. It's great. Facing his words, Senju Hashirama seemed somewhat emotional. But then again, boy, do you know who he is? Senju Hashirama asked Hyuga Neji, pointing at Indra. Master First Hokage, don't you know? Hyuga Neji asked suspiciously. Senju Hashirama waved his hand and said with a smile, I have been dead for so many years, how can I know your younger generation? Hyuga Neji froze for a moment, then said in a deep voice, Master First Hokage, he is not the junior you said. Hyuga Neji gritted his teeth and finally said, he is an earlier ninja than you. According to Naruto, he is the ancestor of the Uchiha clan. As soon as Hyuga Neji said this, the people around were shocked. The ancestor of the Uchiha clan? Uchiha Sasuke looked at Indra's back with a puzzled expression. What? Ancestor of Uchiha, this. Is this true? Gainshua held Orochimaru's sleeve and said solemnly. It's unbelievable. He's not reincarnated, he still looks young, he doesn't even see it at all. He's outlived first Hokage. Shigeru also expressed his doubts. Orochimaru grinned and said, it seems to be more and more interesting. The predecessor Hokage's face became dignified obviously, and then he asked, is this true? Hyuga Neji nodded and said quickly, what Naruto said should not be wrong. I heard that he was first reincarnated, and now I don't know why he is completely resurrected. The ancestor of the Uchiha family. No wonder he would say that he is a demon. It seems that he is indeed, Senju Tobirama said in a deep voice. Don't say that, Senju Hashirama retorted. Judging from the explosiveness of chakra just now, the person in front of me should be the ancestor of Uchiha. No wonder, under certain circumstances, I felt what kind of feeling Uchiha Madara gave me from him. 29 Indra's first generation Hokage side story. It's because of him that the village became what it is now. Hyuga Neji added. At this moment, Hyuga Neji is planning to let the predecessor Hokage take action to help solve the man who claims to be the ancestor of the Uchiha clan in front of him. What? Senju Tobirama became visibly angry. I just heard what Orochimaru said. There are few lights in Konoha village now, and the rest of the people were killed by him? Senju Hashirama asked Hyuga Neji with a solemn face. Lord First Hokage, no, we have evacuated some of the villagers from Konoha safely. Hyuga Neji said in a deep voice. Big brother, whoever he is, he invaded Konoha, damn it. I'll deal with him now. Senju Tobirama said coldly. Senior, I don't care whether you are the ancestor of the Uchiha clan or not, but you destroyed the Konoha village we worked so hard to create, and just because of that, we are not destined to be people of the same road. Senju Hashirama clenched the hand in his fist, staring at Indra in front of him. Indra didn't care about their expressions at all. At this moment, Uchiha Sasuke walked forward slowly, looked at Indra with his eyes, and said solemnly, you said that you are the ancestor of our Uchiha family. Then your eyes are the best proof. The corners of Indra's mouth raised slightly and smiled. Do you seem to have made a mistake? What is the ancestor of the Uchiha family? What is it? What is it not? Do I want to prove something like you? Uchiha Sasuke frowned and said in a deep voice, I'm sorry, but you disturbed my plan. What do you want to do? Okay, Uchiha Sasuke, you're not qualified to speak here yet. Indra turned her head and looked at Uchiha Sasuke. Let's try it out to see if I have the qualifications. Uchiha Sasuke said in a deep voice. His eyes suddenly turned blood red, and the hexagonal star turned in a circle. Mangekyo Sharingan? Indra smiled slightly. As soon as Indra's voice fell, a purple light suddenly appeared beside Uchiha Sasuke, and in an instant, a skeleton arm appeared out of thin air and launched an attack directly at Indra. At the moment when the arm directly approached Indra, suddenly, Indra's eyes changed to Rinnegan. A space-time crack appeared directly, and Uchiha Sasuke's fist penetrated directly. Space Ninjutsu. Uchiha Sasuke immediately noticed Indra's eyes, and quickly retracted Suzu. Since it's done, then you guys who claim to be Hokage come too. Indra said gently, then jumped slightly to the back and shouted, fire style. The fire is extinguished. After all, Indra's mouth spit out an overwhelming fire block to attack the previous Hokage. The scope is equivalent to 10 times the size of fire style Great Fireball technique. If they dodge, there is no doubt that the village will become in ruins. At the moment they can only block. Senju Tobirama hurried to seal and said, water style middle dot water barrier. Hula. Suddenly, in front of them, a thick wall of water was formed. Indra's arrogant fire was extinguished, but it directly impacted, cut. A thick white water mist appeared directly, and the white water mist instantly filled the surroundings. The surroundings were quiet for a while, but the next moment, in front of Senju Tobirama, he suddenly felt the movement of the white mist. Before he had time to dodge, Indra came directly in front of him and greeted him directly. Zero ask for flowers. Senju Tobirama flew upside down instantly. Shhhhhhhh. Beside Indra, Yuin's voice came out. In an instant, Indra quickly jumped back, and as expected, countless vines appeared where he had just stood. The vine seemed to have spirituality, and after it was empty, it stabbed towards Indra again. Indra grinned, and then said silently, there are all kinds of things. Jump. In front of Indra, countless vines suddenly appeared, rushing towards Senju Hashirama's vines. Clap. The vines of the two people were tightly intertwined with each other. Sure enough, he can use word style too. Senju Hashirama said solemnly. Let me take a good look at the strength of Senju Hashirama in this era. After that, I saw a purple light appear, and in an instant, a complete Suzu was formed, wearing a tengu, a mask, holding a long sword and a pair of wings behind it. Orochimaru said in a deep voice from behind, what a big Suzu. Run away. Saying that, Uchiha Sasuke and his party hurriedly started running. Sasuke, it's your ancestors, Haki. Let's singled out all the ancestors of Hokage. Ghost Shuayu said to Uchiha Sasuke in front of him as he ran. 30 The strength is very strong. Extras, ancestors are just what other people said, and the truth of the matter is estimated to be known only by the one named Indra. Uchiha Sasuke jumped onto a big tree. This big tree is some distance away from Indra. Generally speaking, the scale of the battle will not interfere here. La. At the back, Suzuki and Uchiha Sasuke jumped up the same tree, while Orochimaru and Shichigo jumped on the other tree next to them. That said, but I personally feel that he is really your ancestor, Gain Shuayu said. Uchiha Sasuke turned his head to look at the ghost lamp Shuayu and said calmly, 533 where did you see it? Gui Deng Shui looked up to the sky for a while, and said gently, Rinnegan is the best way to say it. Didn't you Uchiha family say that the limit of Sharingan is Rinnegan? And he has Rinnegan, and he dares to single out all of them. The first generation of Hokage, it is estimated that he would not dare to do anything if he hadn't had some skills. Said yes, singled out all the previous Hokage, unless he is a fool, but obviously, he is not. He is very confident in himself, such a person. I feel that this era has not been cultivated so far. Orochimaru Shen said loudly. In fact, the Orochimaru at this moment is already tacitly agreed that Indra is the ancestor of the Uchiha family, excluding this era, and then to the era of Senju Hashirama. If he is from the era of Senju Hashirama, and his strength is so tyrannical, how can Senju Hashirama be? Don't know him. So, it is clear that he is further ahead than Senju Hashirama's time. Uchiha Sasuke frowned and said in a deep voice, Uchiha ancestors. People who have been around for such a long time don't stay underground, get up and join in the fun, and disrupt all my plans. If Indra hears this, he will definitely give a good lesson to Uchiha Sasuke, who is to blame. It's not that you reincarnated him, and then there is this scene. In the end, this is all made by Kabuto. What surprised me was that he was supposed to be reincarnated, but I didn't expect that he was completely resurrected. An incomprehensible smile. But, what shall we do next? Shichigo asked aside. We are here for Sasuke, so now let's listen to Sasuke. Orochimaru laughed. Let's just wait and see what happens here. Uchiha Sasuke said in a deep voice. Shadow clone technique. Senju Tobirama quickly formed a seal with both hands. Tablet, 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 and 3 clones exactly like him appeared out of thin air next to him. After the 3 clones appeared, they quickly flew towards Indra. The main body is a double-handed seal again, water-style water rush. This is a high-level water-style ninjutsu, which summons a large amount of water like ocean waves to impact the opponent in an instant. The water rotates around him, and then all rush towards the enemy. All attack and defense are controlled by Tobirama. Boom. The shock of water hits Indra directly. Indra looked at the impact of the water in front of him, without any panic. Behind him, the space-time crack opened again. He stepped back and stepped directly into the crack. Tobirama, watch your back. Senju Hashirama felt a cry. As soon as the voice fell, behind Senju Tobirama, a space-time crack appeared at an unknown time. Indra rushed from behind and kicked Senju Tobirama directly. Immediately, the first generation, as well as the third generation, fourth generation, quickly ran towards Indra, and Indra began to fight against Zu, and in the blink of an eye, they met. Clap clap clap. Indra kicked one, and after he stood firm, he rushed towards Indra again. After second generation stood up, he joined in, and the 4 fought against 1, and Indra did not have the slightest advantage. For our attack, we didn't mess around at all, and our strength is very strong. Senju Hashirama couldn't help but praise during the sparring. Really? Indra sneered, but said contemptuously, but don't think I'll praise you back, that's impossible. After saying the last sentence, Indra's kick was obviously more forceful, directly kicking third generation 4.2 and fourth generation backwards by several meters. Fortunately, they were reincarnated yesterday, otherwise, I think it would be really troublesome. Fourth Hokage said softly towards third Hokage. I'm more curious than this. What the hell did your son do? Uchiha's ancestors have to get up from the ground to kill him. Third generation frowned, looking at fourth generation and asked. Fourth generation shook his head and said, I am just like you, just reincarnated in seconds. 31 6 Paths Tin Rod, Part 1. Well, it seems to be the same. Third Hokage was stunned for a while, and then continued to answer. Now the juniors, none of them worry about it. Fourth Hokage smiled awkwardly and said, not to mention that the third generation wanted to know what Naruto did at the moment. Even his father wanted to know if Naruto was digging the ancestral grave of the Uchiha family, and then Uchiha ancestors climbed up from the ground in anger to seek revenge for Naruto. The ancestors of Uchiha are too powerful, and our 4 shadows have joined forces to gain the upper hand. Fourth Hokage added. Yeah. Third Hokage nodded, then ran up again, while instructing Fourth Hokage, come on, we are reincarnated, and it stands to reason that we are more conducive to a protracted war. Clap clap clap. During the sparring, the corners of Indra's mouth raised slightly, and he said solemnly, it's really interesting to reincarnate. No matter how high the damage of ordinary attacks, you can all heal quickly. Although there are advantages to reincarnation, there are also disadvantages, and we cannot exert our full strength. Senju Hashirama said in a deep voice. Really? Indra said, hooking her leg hard, and Senju Hashirama quickly folded her hands to block it. With a snap, Senju Hashirama rolled around a few times, then rubbed his feet on the ground, and then stopped. The next moment, he crossed his hands and said in a deep voice, Sage Mode. As soon as he finished speaking, the next moment, Black lines appeared beside his eyes. "You stand back and let me come." Senju Hashirama ordered the Hokage of the descendants. "Brother, can you do it alone? The opponent's strength is too tyrannical," Senju Tobirama asked. "Don't worry, just leave it to me. You all step aside," Senju Hashirama said with a slight smile. The other ancestor Hokage nodded and ran quickly, some distance away from Senju Hashirama. Senju Hashirama, whether it's the one he just crossed over or the one from the original book, Indra didn't take it too lightly. Who knows if he'll use any weird moves. After all, in the original book, those who described Senju Hashirama's strength praised him as a myth-like sage of 6 paths, but of course, there are great contradictions in this statement. The descendants who know the strength of Sage of 6 Paths, no one at all, praise or something. Maybe the original is to let people know that Senju Hashirama's strength is very powerful. As for whether it is strong or not, whether it can be compared to the myth of Sage of 6 Paths, Indra will know after a try. "You really have enough confidence in yourself?" Indra snorted coldly and chuckled. "No, although I am Mewtwo's reincarnation, I don't dare to be careless about a strong enemy like you," Senju Hashirama said gently. Immediately, he put his hands together and said, "Sage art wood style true several thousand hands." Sage art wood style, true several thousand hands. The wood style used after entering Sage mode, clasps his hands together to create a giant Buddha with hundreds of giant arms higher than 100 meters. In the original book, The Battle of the Valley of the End, Senju Hashirama used this technique to show it in front of Madara, and used it in conjunction with the Sage art wood style true several thousand hands. Sage art wood style true several thousand hands. Sage art. Crack, clap. A huge Buddha appeared in an instant. His huge body blocked the moonlight above the sky, and the place where Indra stood was obviously much darker. Senju Hashirama jumped on the nose of the Buddha, looked at Indra below, and said, "I'll give it up, senpai." Indra was expressionless. A purple light appeared on his body, and the purple light rose violently, forming Suzu, jumping directly to the full-body Suzu, holding a purple long sword. A pair of huge wings in the back. Indra is standing above the forehead of the complete body Suzu 533 no. Jump jump jump. Senju Hashirama controls the big Buddha and throws his fists towards Suzu of Indra. Suzu drew his sword quickly, and the sword body was a purple light. La la la. Suzu swung the long sword in his hand and slashed towards the rushing Buddha, but the effect was obviously not great. Even if he cut off a hand, he would grow back quickly. After maintaining like this for a while, Senju Hashirama put his hands together again, and said in a deep voice, "Turn into a Buddha on the top. Turn into a Buddha on the top, and control all the huge arms of true several thousand hands to hit the opponent with great power, which can hit the valley." In the original book, in the Battle of the Valley of the End, Senju Hashirama used this technique to break Madara's armor, Suzu armor. 32 The power of 6 paths. Indra today was the second time Senju Hashirama used this move against Suzu. Countless hands, countless fists, smashed towards Indra's Suzu. Indra controlled Suzu to jump quickly and jumped into the air. Senju Hashirama originally thought it was just a simple jump, but the next moment, he knew that he was thinking too simple. After Suzu jumped up, he didn't come down. Yes, he flew up. "Sure enough," Senju Hashirama said subconsciously, and then a hint of shock appeared on his face, and continued, "It's not bad for the seniors, the juniors have learned." After countless fists were thrown into the air, Senju Hashirama folded his hands again, looked at Indra in the air, and shouted loudly. Immediately, countless vines appeared again, flying towards the sky. Indra looked at the vines approaching towards him with a relaxed expression. The corners of his mouth were slightly the same, and said, "It's time for you to see Suzu's full body strength." Saying that, Suzu held the long sword in his hand and swung 2 swords toward him. The purple rays of light from the 2 swords formed the cross shape and greeted him on the ground. In the middle of the way, he faced the vines that were rising towards the sky, and made a sound of la la la, and then some of the vines were directly cut off, and some rays of light went down his vines and divided into 2 halves. Seeing the purple light coming towards him, Senju Hashirama quickly controlled the Buddha to escape quickly. In the blink of an eye, the light fell to the ground, making a loud noise. The airflow was mixed with smoke and dust, and the soil quickly spread out, filling the surroundings. This blow was a huge blow. At this moment, not only the Uchiha Hananga shrine, but also the nearby houses were implicated. Some houses were crumbling and would collapse at any time. Senju Hashirama looked at the house not far away, frowned, and his heart was touched. He was wrong. He was wrong. He should have used this trick from the beginning. He should have known from the beginning. Using this trick will give great destruction all around. At this moment, Senju Hashirama seemed a little remorseful. At this moment, a voice came from Senju Hashirama's ear. "Big brother, don't worry, there are no people in the village now, you can rest assured to fight. The village is gone, it can still be built, and the remaining dozens of households, I will take them away immediately." Cried Senju Tobirama. Senju Hashirama pondered for a few seconds and then returned, "Okay, this way, I can fight in peace. Later generations praise you for the same myth. As Sage of 6 Paths, but in my eyes, you are far from Sage of Six Paths," Indra said in a deep voice. Once, when Indra hadn't crossed yet, he agreed with Sage of Six Paths saying that love is necessary for peace, but after he crossed over, love or something is just bullshit. No power, no peace. No power. Who treads what bird? You? Really? Senju Hashirama didn't pay too much attention to what Indra said. This smile is exactly the same as that bastard Uzumaki Naruto. It makes people uncomfortable to look at it. But there is no way. The chakra nature attached to you and him is Ashura, Indra said in a deep voice. Sorry, senior, I don't understand what you said at all, Senju Hashirama said in a deep voice. I don't understand. That's normal, you know. I met another Senju Hashirama once, Indra said. Another Senju Hashirama? Senju Hashirama froze for a moment, then he said again, could it be that there is also a Senju Hashirama in the same generation as senior? Apostrophe, you're not wrong to say that. It's the same era as me, but not Indra. That guy is luckier than you. When he died, he got the power of six paths. I will never forget. Sage of Six Paths saw the expression on my face when I was alive. Indra speaks of the past. Senju Hashirama pondered for a while, and then asked, listen to your tone, does Sage of Six Paths have a great grudge against you? Don't get me wrong. He has no grudge against me, Indra said calmly. Senju Hashirama. But then again, how strong is Sage of Six Paths, and is it better than its predecessors? Senju Hashirama continued to ask. Indra, Li Hao looked down at Senju Hashirama, then let out a smile, and said solemnly, you want to know how strong Sage of Six Paths is? Okay. Anyway, if you are bored, that kind of power is just right to deal with. You impure world reincarnation. After saying that, Indra's Suzu suddenly descended, and with a bang, it fell to the ground. The next moment, Suzu disappeared and Indra watched Senju Hashirama. A period of wind blew, and Indra's long hair was blown up, and suddenly, his long brown hair suddenly turned white in the next moment. Ring. 33 Six Paths. Indra C. Extra's clothes also changed, wearing a white robe, and the clothes behind him were slightly lifted up by the airflow that came with him. At this moment, many circles appeared on the top of the clothes on the back, one by one. Large, and the small circle is inside the large circle. Then below, there are 3 rows of hook jade, and there are 3 hook jade in one row. There are 9 in total. On Indra's head, 2 horns slowly appeared. Bang, boom, boom. Behind the margin, the truth-seeking ball appeared out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3 until 9 appeared. In Indra's hands, a black weapon also appeared at this moment, and this weapon was named Six Paths Tin Staff, with a moon shape on the tail. Senju Hashirama stared at Indra with a frown, sweat dripping from his cheeks. What's going on? It feels like a completely different person. Could it be? This is the ability he said can rival Sage of Six Paths, Senju Hashirama said in a deep voice, probably out of instinct at this moment. He subconsciously took a few steps back. The moon above the sky today is different from usual. The moon used to be golden, but now it is red. Since I've been resurrected, it's the first time I've used my power. A smile leaked from the corner of Indra's mouth. That's right, before he was resurrected, that is, before he was brought to the age by the system, Indra found the 9-tailed beast, absorbed it, and became the 10 tails human pillar, plus an upgraded wheel eye. At that time, Senju Hashirama tried to seal Indra using the seal technique, but Indra's upgraded Rinnegan had the power of dominance and completely ignored his seal technique. Let Senju Hashirama's only 10% chance of defeating Indra go straight to 0. La la la. Under the moonlight, 3 figures suddenly flashed past and landed next to Senju Hashirama, and these 3 figures were the 3 remaining ancestors of Hokage. Senju Hashirama glanced at the 3 Hokages of the previous generation in doubt, and then asked, are there any people left in the village to evacuate? Senju Tobirama Kaidos, I have already handed it over to the child named Neji, and I told him that if he does not leave, he will be taken away by force. If he does not leave by force, he will be brought here. Senju Hashirama heard this and glanced at Senju Tobirama. Speaking of which, the person in front of me is that Indra? Namikaze Minato asked involuntarily, looking at the man in front of him. It stands to reason, it should be, although a lot has changed and the nature of chakra is different, but the face is still the same face. Senju Tobirama reasoned. Yes, this is Indra, but I have a very bad feeling right now. Senju Hashirama frowned. Unease he never felt when he fought Uchiha Madara. I just saw his Suzu suddenly disappear, and I thought Big Brother did the upper hand, Senju Tobirama said in a deep voice. At this moment, Indra suddenly made a sound, interrupting their conversation. It's all here, it's okay. I'm too lazy to find you. Indra pointed at the 4 of them with the 6 Paths tin stick in hand, and said calmly, everyone be careful, he's dangerous. Senju Hashirama ordered. 0 ask for flowers. The crowd nodded. Senju Hashirama put his hands together, slapped on the ground, and drank, wood style. All things are in the air. Research. A sound. Around Indra, countless vines break out, trying to entangle Indra. Meanwhile, in Namikaze Minato's hands, a Rasengan appeared out of nowhere, reaching about 4 or 5 basketball plays. Indra-like vines broke out of the ground and jumped into the sky, while on the other side, Senju Tobirama threw the kunai in his hand towards Indra. Indra dodged Senju Tobirama's kunai with a flick of a flash. At this moment, Senju Tobirama leaked a smile and shouted, "Flying Thunder God technique!" Before Senju Tobirama lost the kunai flying over his head. After he meditated on the Flying Thunder God technique, kunai directly changed to Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato directly raised the Rasengan in his hand towards Indra's back and shouted, "Rasengan!" Just when he thought he was going to hit Indra, Indra let out a meaningful smile. A truth-seeking ball turns directly into a black shield. Boom! Rasengan hit the shield, and an air current appeared in an instant. Namikaze Minato was caught off guard, and was thrown straight away. Indra turned her head and looked at Namikaze Minato, who was thrown away, and said with a cold smile, "Naive child, you thought you could hit me like this." 34. The beginning of the nightmare, extras, is the strange black sphere behind it blocking the Rasengan? Senju Tobirama said calmly, looking at Indra in midair. "Can't be wrong." Senju Hashirama Kaido. "What is that sphere of sunspots?" Sarutobi Hiruzen asked suspiciously. Senju Hashirama shook his head. He didn't know what this black bead was, but he could conclude that it was definitely not owned by the Uchiha clan, because he didn't look at it when he was fighting against Uchiha Madara before he died. Past this black sphere thing, everyone is still careful to avoid that black sphere. I always have a bad feeling. Kien 5 Sanchi said Hashirama in a deep voice. "Got it, big brother." Senju Tobirama nodded. "Okay. The next good show is about to take place," Indra said with a slight smile. At this time, Namikaze Minato also slowly climbed up from the ground. His damaged body slowly began to recover. He frowned and looked at Indra above the sky. "It seems, isn't it that simple?" Namikaze Minato said. "Now, first generation, second generation, third generation are preparing to launch the second round of attack. They are looking at Indra, looking for the opportunity to wait. But, at this moment, Indra suddenly disappeared. Everyone was startled. With an Indra instantly appeared behind them. The corners of the eyes of the 3 predecessors Hokage poked backwards, and couldn't help but startled, and sweat quickly appeared on their cheeks. "What a fast speed," Yuan Hiruzen said. "This speed is even faster than Flying Thunder God," Senju Tobirama said. Indra grinned and took a shot with the 6 Paths tin stick. Crack! Yuan Hiruzen's upper body instantly turned into crumbs, and his lower body fell directly to the ground. Seizing this opportunity, Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama quickly jumped to the sides. But just as Senju Tobirama was about to jump, Indra made another backhand. With another sound of clap, Senju Tobirama quickly split into 2 halves, and then fell to the ground with a clatter. Taking advantage of this gap, Senju Hashirama opened a little distance. He witnessed what had just happened, and couldn't help but be stunned. If they weren't reincarnated, it would be really terrifying to encounter such an enemy. Indra jumped, and a space-time crack appeared above. Just as Senju Hashirama was thinking about where Indra was going, with a pop, the 6 Paths tin rod directly penetrated his abdomen. Immediately, Indra kicked it straight away. And then Indra jumped, followed, and raised the 6 Paths tin stick and slashed directly. Boom! The airflow was mixed with stone debris and scattered everywhere, and a cloud of smoke and dust then filled the surroundings. Namikaze Minato's face instantly became angry and sweaty. In just 20 seconds, he instantly knocked down the 3 Hokages of the previous generation. How terrifying is this strength? Just when he was thinking about it, Indra rushed out of the smoke, and before Namikaze Minato could react, Indra's 6 Paths tin rod directly blew his head. Immediately kicked his body. "So vulnerable. I'm really worried for your generation," Indra said calmly, and then slowly floated up into the sky. In the distance, Uchiha Sasuke was stunned for a moment, and then he shouted at Orochimaru and the others, "Run!" Orochimaru, Gainshiryu and Shijigo were startled and asked in confusion, "What's wrong?" "I don't have time to explain. Talk while walking," said Uchiha Sasuke, hurriedly jumped, and left quickly. "What the hell is going on?" Ghost Lantern Shiryu asked Uchiha Sasuke while running. "If I guessed correctly, your ancestors are going to launch a second wave of attacks, and the position where we are standing will be affected." "I'm right, Sasuke," Orochimaru said calmly. "Yes," Uchiha Sasuke said blankly. "Sasuke, are your ancestors really scary?" Guideng Shiryu shuddered as she listened to their conversation. "I'm afraid I can't interfere in these battles. That guy is crazy, let alone Uchiha Madara. Even Uchiha's ancestors dare to impure world reincarnation, and now it's better, it's out of control." Chongo said solemnly. "No way. I hope the previous Hokages can solve this lunatic." Orochimaru said blankly. "Don't you feel that your idea is unreal, just at the beginning? How big is the difference in strength? Don't you have any points in your heart?" Uchiha Sasuke retorted. The 4 ancestors of Hokage healed slowly again, and after 4.2 minutes, their bodies were once again complete. "This bastard is really scary. If it weren't for us being reincarnated, I would have already been a Senju Tobirama said in a deep voice. Everyone, First Hokage, is there any way to deal with him? Namikaze Minato asked in a deep voice. Just then, a voice broke their conversation. There's still time to talk. What are you going to do with the next blow? Indra sneered. 35 Planetary Devastation, extras. The next blow? Everyone stared at Indra above, but they never saw what he said about this round of attacks. What the hell is he doing? Sanjima muttered in a deep voice. I don't know, but it's definitely not easy to imagine. Senju Hashirama Kaido. Have you tried getting wet in the rain? Indra asked with a grin. The predecessor Hokage frowned and looked at Indra above the sky, and then asked in a deep voice. What the hell are you going to do? What? Hee. It must be for the benefit of the common people. Give them an artificial rain. Indra's gentle Kaido. Of course, Hokage from the previous generation can also think of it. The meaning of what he said is definitely not just a literal meaning. You bastard. I'll just say why the Uchiha clan are all bad-hearted. It turns out that there is such an ancestor. How can the descendants not be bad-hearted? Senju Tobirama scolded. Indra looked at Senju Tobirama contemptuously, and said solemnly, when I finish this time, I will kill you. I'm so sorry, I've already died a dead person. Senju Tobirama sneered. It doesn't matter. When I destroy you, I will raise Konoha village to the ground. Of course, I will not spare a single one of Konoha village. Indra said with a smile. This bastard has lost his madness. A lunatic. Senju Tobirama fumed. Indra ignored Senju Tobirama's words. He was afraid that if he kept talking, he would not be able to control him and destroy him immediately, but this way he could not see himself destroying Konoha village. Indra slowly raised his hand. A black sphere suddenly appeared, and then from which black sphere, countless black balls were separated, and then also swelled up, about the size of 3 basketballs, and finally stopped. Down. Forehead. The predecessor Hokage looked at the countless black spheres in the sky with timidity, and shuddered for a while, and sweat dripped from his cheeks. Is this what he called rain? Namikaze Minato said in a deep voice. Estimated yes. Senju Hashirama Kaido. If you think so, you are very wrong. Indra shouted with a smile, and then said silently, planetary devastation. As soon as Indra's voice fell, the earth began to vibrate. Dangtu. A piece of rock or soil broke away from the ground, then flew to the black sphere, and then merged together. Immediately, the crater on the ground became deeper and deeper, and the sphere above the sky became larger and larger. What the hell is going on? Yuan Hiruzen said while watching the mud blocks flying up on his feet. What the hell is he doing? Namikaze Minato swallowed hard. Will this match the power known as Sage of Six Paths? Senju Hashirama said in a deep voice. Sage of Six Paths? Third Hokage asked suspiciously from behind. Well, I guess that's the power he says rivals the Sage of Six Paths. Senju Hashirama Kaido. And just like that, after a while, Indra's planetary devastation was completed. Countless large spheres are engraved on it in the air, and each sphere is roughly the size of 2 100-square-meter houses. If these things hit the ground, the consequences will be unimaginable. Senju Hashirama said solemnly, then put his hands together and said, Wood-style middle. Tree world is born. Click, click. Monument. The vines burst out, and everything around them instantly became a forest. Namikaze Minato instantly entered Ninetales mode, glowing yellow all over his body, ready at any time. Sarutobi Hiruzen hurriedly took the huge hand behind his back to the sword, and was ready to fight, while Senju Tobirama watched for loopholes and wanted to attack Indra. So? The show is on. Indra grinned, then waved, and with the sound of countless spheres, they all greeted the ground. As soon as the sphere fell, followed by countless vines rising towards the sky, trying to pick up the sphere, Namikaze Minato used the hand of Ninetales chakra. The chakra of Ninetales was materialized into the hand of chakra shaped like a fox sharp, to prepare to receive it. Lower sphere. And Sarutobi Hiruzen threw out the shuriken in his hand, and then said silently, Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Originally there was only one shuriken, but it instantly turned into dozens of them, hitting the sphere. In the blink of an eye, there was a continuous explosion in the sky. Smoke and dust filled the sky, and the large and small Yaxi fell to the ground. Although the sphere in front of them can be resisted for a while, other places are not so lucky. 36 What happens when I absorb 2 Ninetales? Extras. Bang, bang, bang. The sphere formed by the rocket falling, and the buildings of Konoha village were smashed by the sphere one by one. In just a few tens of seconds, Konoha village became a ruin. Even one of the heads of the Hokage rock face was smashed off. Uchiha Sasuke and the others fled for a while. When they heard a noise, they stopped quickly and looked back. Seeing this scene not far away, a cold sweat broke out on his cheeks involuntarily. And Orochimaru and the others who followed, saw Uchiha Sasuke stopped and looked back, and they couldn't help but stop, just like Uchiha Sasuke looked back. This time, Konoha village should be completely destroyed, Orochimaru said with emotion. In the past, he also wanted to destroy Konoha, but he didn't have anything to do with Konoha. Now that he saw Konoha being destroyed, he didn't know whether to be happy or sad. Guideng Shuayu frowned and shuddered all over his body. Zuo, help, is your ancestor going crazy? Look at this battle. He is going to destroy the rhythm of the world. Uchiha Sasuke glanced at Ghost Lantern Shuayu speechlessly, and said, who knows about this kind of thing, but after thinking about it, it doesn't matter whether you ask the previous Hokage questions or not. Today's Konoha village was destroyed as a number of days. Speaking of this moment, Uchiha Sasuke couldn't help but think of his elder brother Uchiha Itachi. For the Uchiha family, he was charged with the crime of being a traitor of Konoha and the crime of genocide. He gritted his teeth and forgot about third Hokage he wanted to ask. Uchiha Sasuke looked up at the sky and said in a deep voice, the era of Uchiha Hokage seems to be coming. Sasuke. What do you mean? Guiding Shuayu asked Uchiha Sasuke suspiciously. Are you going to take refuge in your ancestors? Chongo asked. Uchiha Sasuke glanced at Shigeru, then said, join us? This shouldn't count, because I'm from the Uchiha clan too. What if he wants to kill you? Are you still going to take refuge? Okimaru said slowly. Let's talk about this in the end. Uchiha Sasuke said in a deep voice. At this moment, Uchiha Sasuke hopes that Indra can lead the Uchiha clan again. But if he doesn't want that, he can't do anything about him. Where are we going now? Guiding Shuayu asked. Go back. Uchiha Sasuke said without hesitation. Go back? When Guideng Shuayu heard this, he was so frightened that his whole body shuddered. If he chose again, he would never approach Indra. The pressure alone made him feel uncomfortable in his entire body. Sasuke, I heard it right. You have finally run so far, and now you want to go back? You are talking about who your ancestors are. If you don't say a word, you will be the ancestor of Hokage. Isn't it courting death when we went back yesterday? If he doesn't like it, he will put us on his list to kill. Guideng Shuayu said with a frown. Shuayu, that's right. This is really too reckless. Although he is the ancestor of your Uchiha family, we don't know him at all. Okimaru continued. Uchiha Sasuke thought for a while, then nodded. At this moment, on Indra's side, Hokage had no way to take Indra at all. Senju Tobirama was just about to attack Indra, but was hit by the truth-seeking ball, and his arms were gone. There is no need to discuss any countermeasures. You have no chance of winning. My strength is completely crushing you. Indra continued, pointing at them with a Six Paths tin stick. I'm not interested anymore. It's time to end. Drag your blessing. I already know what to do next. Indra said in a deep voice. Immediately facing the four predecessors Hokage, Lugua Rinnegan glared, and in the blink of an eye, the eyes of the four predecessors Hokage changed into Lugua Rinnegan. Obviously, they were hit by Indra's illusion. Indra walked over slowly, with a smile on her face. She said to Namikaze, Li Haozao, Minato, if I remember correctly, you also have half nine tails left on your body. I'm really curious. What if you had two nine tails? For this question, Indra is too sure. After all, he has a nine tails in his body. What happens when he absorbs a nine tails? He doesn't know. Wait, absorb nine tails? Indra suddenly thought of something at this moment. If in this day and age, I was about to absorb a 10 tails, what would happen? Indra murmured! 37 The strongest Uchiha clan. Extras forget it. I still don't want this. Let's build the strongest Uchiha clan in this era. Indra muttered softly. Saying that, Indra first patted his hand on Senju Hashirama's neck to absorb the magic chakra in his body. After absorbing it, a black stick appeared in the palm of Indra's left hand. Indra broke it and inserted it directly into Senju Hashirama's body. After 5 or 6 consecutive insertions, he blocked his chakra flow. Then, the same practice was carried out among the other 3 Hokages. Indra didn't plan to destroy them 40 inches immediately, but kept them and let them see the fate of Konoha. Solution, Indra said in a deep voice. Immediately in the eyes of the first Hokage generation, they returned to their original appearance. Now their movements have been blocked by Indra. After they returned to their original appearance, cold sweat broke out on their cheeks as they looked at Indra. It's a pity you lost, Indra said with a chuckle. Your era, as well as mine, has passed. Why do you want to come out to disturb future generations? Senju Hashirama frowned and said in a deep voice. Indra sneered, Kaido, that's right. But is it us who is wrong? It's their descendants. If they don't die and reincarnate us, it will be like this today. Senju Hashirama couldn't help being touched. What Indra said was not without reason. If it wasn't for the offspring's own sins, how could they be like this? Big brother, don't waste your words with him. Senju Tobirama continued. Indra gave him a cold look, and then a black stick reappeared in the palm of his left hand. After reaching a certain length, Indra broke it. The thing that bothers me the most is you. You act like a self-righteous person all day, and it makes you sick to look at it, Indra said, walking slowly to his side, and then took a black stick and pierced it directly through his mouth. Past. I really have nothing to say to you ignorant people, you just wait here and see what the world will be like, Indra said, then turned around, floated in the air, and slowly moved towards before the flight. On the red moon night, it was obviously darker than ordinary nights, and after Indra floated forward in the air for a while, he stopped, glanced around, then stared in one direction and muttered, where is it? After saying that, Indra suddenly accelerated and rushed in that direction. After a while, Indra descended rapidly, and with a bang, it landed on the ground smoothly, with debris of mud splashing around, and a slight smoke and dust scattered around Indra. He's here. Deng Xiaoyu looked at Indra, who suddenly descended from the sky, and hid behind Orochimaru in fright, her face slightly deformed. When Orochimaru saw this, he quickly became vigilant, and his hands were ready to seal the honor. I don't know, the ancestors of the Uchiha clan, what do they mean here? Orochimaru looked at Indra facelessly, and said in a deep voice. Indra glanced at them, then said, Uchiha Sasuke, I give you a choice, you want to follow me, or you go your own way. Of course, I'm not threatening you. Even if you choose your own path, I won't do anything to you now, but next time we meet again, I can't guarantee that I won't do anything to you. After Indra's voice fell, Orochimaru and the others turned their attention to Uchiha Sasuke, waiting for Uchiha Sasuke's answer. Uchiha Sasuke had talked about this issue before, but he never imagined that Indra would come over to invite himself. This was a perfect opportunity for him. Uchiha Sasuke, I agree to work with you. Sasuke. Hearing Uchiha Sasuke's answer, the faces of Orochimaru and his party changed slightly. Indra nodded with satisfaction. In this era, the surviving Uchiha clan, it is estimated that only Uchiha Sasuke is the weakest. However, it doesn't matter, people will always become stronger. In this case, it's time to take you to a place. Indra said calmly. What about them? Uchiha Sasuke asked. Uchiha Sasuke refers to them, of course, Orochimaru them. They? Since they are your friends, follow Uchiha Sasuke and follow me. Indra said calmly. 38 Shaking Ninja Coalition. Extras. They didn't dare to say more. They were afraid that if they said something wrong, they would be obliterated, and the gain would outweigh the loss. Uchiha Sasuke followed Indra, and Orochimaru followed behind Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke. Where is he going now? Deng Xiaoyu quickened the pace of his feet and said side by side with Uchiha Sasuke. Uchiha Sasuke glanced at him, then shook his head. After all, Indra didn't say where to go, just told himself to follow. The next second, something unexpected happened to them. Frontline. Indra replied without looking back. Frontline. After hearing this, Deng Xiaoyu was obviously a little terrified, but he heard that there was a man named Uchiha Madara in the frontline battlefield, and that man was called the God of Ninja 01 like Sanju Hashirama. Although there is a person in front of him who is even more terrifying than the God of Ninjas, who knows if he will come to help when he is in danger. Thinking of this, he shuddered all over, then slowed down, and when Orochimaru caught up, he asked, they went to the front, should we follow? Orochimaru smiled slightly. Kaido, or else? I noticed you've changed. Shijigo added aside. Where has it changed? Deng Xiaoyu asked. Becoming timid. Orochimaru said. Yes. Shijigo nodded. Deng Xiaoyu swallowed hard. Indeed, he was not so timid before. But just now, when he saw Indra singled out the 4 predecessors of Hokage, he couldn't help but cast a shadow. The strength of these guys is far from within reach. Where? Deng Xiaoyu smiled awkwardly and said to save face, I'm not thinking of everyone. Chongwu rolled his eyes at him and added, this is not necessary for you. It's accelerating. It's so tiresome. I don't know when it will reach the front line. Indra said in a deep voice, then floated in the air and moved forward quickly. And Uchiha Sasuke and Orochimaru are running fast behind them. A command. Nara Shikage stood up from the chair suddenly, stared wide-eyed, looked at the perception ninja beside the crystal ball, and said in a deep voice, what did you say? The latest news from Konoha village, is now in ruins, but fortunately, Konoha's people have been evacuated. The perception ninja repeated. Damn it, the 4th battlefield was the defeat of the 5 shadows, and now Konoha village is destroyed. Naruto's breath was quickened, and he slammed his fist on the table. Could it be that the ninja world is about to end like this? Muttering, he immediately sat down on the chair, leaned back against the chair, raised his head, and stroked his forehead with his hand. At this moment, he seemed too helpless. The blows one after another made his head hurt. After a long time. What's going on with Naruto? Nara Shikahizu asked softly. It's not very optimistic either, and it's currently the underdog. What? Nara Shikahizu frowned and continued to ask, didn't the other battlefields already provide support? It's right to support, but the 2 Uchiha Madaras are too powerful, and the effect is not too big. Perception Ninja said. At this moment, Nara Shikahizu was even more helpless. Just 2 Uchiha Madara seemed helpless. If his ancestor Indra was in the past, why would he still need to fight? Despair. Yes, at this moment he is a little desperate. He seems to feel that this battle, lost, there is no way to fight back, and the strength is not at the same level. Hyuga Neji stretched out his hand, pointed forward, and said to the dozen or so people behind him, you keep walking, it's not too far, we have more important things to do. So we can't take you 540. Boys, go do your business. We have seen the lights not far away. We will walk the rest of the way by ourselves. An old woman with white hair said softly towards Hyuga Neji. Hyuga Neji nodded and said softly, then be careful. After exhorting one sentence, he immediately said to Hyuga Hinata and the others, let's go back to support the ancestors of Hokage and the others yesterday. Everyone nodded, agreeing with what Hyuga Neji said, and then ran back quickly, Seeing the Konoha village at the moment, they were still a little timid in their hearts. The reason why they are afraid is because they have self-knowledge and know that the gap in strength is too great. Going back to support, there is no way out. 39 The world is going to be destroyed. Extras The four ancestors Hokage stood motionless. Their bodies were blocked by black sticks, and the flow of chakra. Their faces were very dignified now. I didn't expect that we would end up in such a place, Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a deep voice. Senju Hashirama looked at him and smiled helplessly. Kaido, there is no way to do this. Who makes the opponent too strong? But then again, since it was the younger generation who took out this ginger, our ancestors also helped not so much. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, yes. If the ninja world is destroyed, it seems that I will die. The ninja world is really going to be destroyed. There is no way to do that, Senju Hashirama said in a deep voice. Looking at your uneasy look, are you worried about Naruto? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Namikaze Minato, who was at a loss, and couldn't help but ask. Namikaze Minato regained his senses, and forced a smile from the corner of his mouth. Well, yes, I don't know what Naruto did to make Indra hate him so much. 21. Wow, 540 people said they were a little naughty when they were young, but they have always been very well behaved. The Naruto you speak of is the son of the fourth Hokage. At this time, Senju Hashirama also interjected. Kaido by Sarutobi Hiruzen and Namikaze Minato in unison. Yes. At this moment, Senju Tobirama on the side was stuck with a black stick in his mouth, and it was impossible for him to speak clearly, so he could only scream a few times. Senju Hashirama glanced at him, and then instructed, your mouth is sealed, so don't speak, we say you just listen. However, if you think about it, Senju Hashirama is definitely asking for it by Senju Tobirama, and his mouth was aimed at Indra from the very beginning, which led to this consequence. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps came from their ears. Someone is here, Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a deep voice. Is he back? Namikaze Minato asked. No, the kid named Neji should be here, Senju Hashirama said. As soon as Senju Hashirama's voice fell, Hyuga Neji and his party rushed over. When Hyuga Neji saw the situation in front of him, his heart couldn't help but be touched, and sweat dripped on his cheeks. The scene in front of him can be said to be completely beyond his expectations. What the hell is going on here? Hyuga Neji seemed a little unacceptable to this fact, but also, he put the hope of defeating Uchiha's ancestor Indra on the predecessor Hokage. Now that the last ray of hope has been destroyed, how can he feel better in his heart? A little fortunate for your expectations, but there is no way out. Senju Hashirama squeezed a smile and said towards Hyuga Neji. Hyuga Neji's meridians erected around his eyes, seeing that the black stick blocked the acupuncture point of the first Hokage generation, making it impossible for him to continue condensing chakra, and said, I will help you pull out this black stick right away, so that you can resume action again. No. You better not touch this black stick, Senju Hashirama said in a deep voice. Hyuga Neji looked at Senju Hashirama, seemed to understand something, and nodded. Ladies Hokage, what are you going to do? Hyuga Neji asked. You don't need to worry about us, just take care of yourselves, we are already dead anyway. Senju Hashirama's expressionless Kaido. Hyuga Neji frowned, looking a little helpless. Come here, I will give you the rest of the chakra, Senju Hashirama said. Hyuga Neji stood there blankly, without going past, but asked Senju Hashirama and the others. Did the ancestor Hokage have a way to deal with the ancestors who were called Uchiha? Senju Hashirama smiled lightly. I'm sorry, we don't have a way to deal with him. Senju Hashirama was telling the truth. If he had to deal with him, he probably wouldn't be blocked here. Originally, there were some methods, but later, the strength gap was too great, and the original methods were useless. Then Lord First Hokage, you and Uchiha Madara are both known as the gods of ninjas. Do you have any way to deal with Uchiha Madara? Hyuga Neji asked how to deal with Indra in vain, so he asked how to deal with Uchiha Madara with a tentative attitude way. Uchiha Madara? Senju Hashirama's face turned ugly after hearing the name. Yes, according to Naruto, he is no longer a pure world reincarnation, but a living person with flesh and blood, in other words, a complete resurrection. Ninjutsu Neji said. What? Resurrected? 40 Go to the frontline battlefield. Extras listening to what Hyuga Neji said at the moment. Senju Hashirama frowned, his face instantly became more ugly, and there was a look of despair in his eyes. Yes. Hyuga Neji nodded, and then said again, I don't know if First Hokage-sama has any good way to deal with him, or, what weakness does Uchiha Madara have? To say a perfect method, it is estimated that only the strength is stronger than him. Asking here, even if it sounds like a very good method, when it comes to the battlefield, it is impossible to expect everything, and everything depends on adaptability. Sorry, there's no other way. Senju Hashirama gave him a firm answer. Hyuga Neji was a little disappointed. He thought that Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara were people of the same era, and he was also known as the god of ninjas. He must have known Uchiha Madara's weaknesses more or less. But things were not what he thought. Even Senju Hashirama couldn't do anything about it. The boy of the Hyuga clan, Senju Hashirama said softly. Hyuga Neji looked at Senju Hashirama expectantly, wondering if Senju Hashirama had come up with something. Although it's not the right time to say this. But you all have to be mentally prepared, Senju Hashirama said solemnly. If it weren't for the situation, he wouldn't say anything next, because this is likely to disturb their confidence. What are you talking about, Lord Hokage? Please tell me, Hyuga Neji said in a deep voice. In this battle, I'm afraid you have the worst. Not only Uchiha Madara has been resurrected, but even Uchiha's ancestors have recovered. After the battle just now, Indra seems to have a power that claims to surpass Sage of Six Paths. Maybe you may not know Sage of Six Paths, and I actually don't know either. Just heard of this guy. Indra's strength is almost invincible, and with a resurrected Uchiha Madara, we can roughly know the next result. Senju Hashirama's face was very ugly. Although he was very unwilling, there was nothing he could do. If he was unwilling, things would still happen. After the voice fell, the surroundings suddenly became silent. The faces of everyone's faces became obviously a little weird, and the atmosphere suddenly became depressed. Senju Hashirama is the originator of Konoha, and his prestige is still great. Even the originator said there is no hope, so they can roughly guess the result. First Hokage-sama, it seems inappropriate to tell them this. Namikaze Minato interrupted. It's okay, even so, I believe there will still be opportunities. Although this battle is said to be a near-death situation, the subsequent victory belongs to us. Hyuga Neji said in a deep voice. Senju's house smiled and said, very good, Hyuga's youth, anything is possible. Although we can't help you, but you juniors must do your best to stop Uchiha Madara and Indra. Don't worry, Lord Hokage, we will definitely stop them, Hyuga Neji said solemnly. At the same time, a command. Because of the troubles on the battlefield, Naruto has a big head, holding his head with both hands, and thinking about countermeasures. Without God. Zero ask for flowers. Lord Lujiu, there is a new situation. A ninja who was perceptive suddenly said. For some reason, as long as Naruto heard them speak at this moment, he couldn't help but feel scared in his heart. It was estimated that the blow in front of him was too great, causing him to have a shadow. Even though he was afraid, he still had to accept the matter. He opened his tired eyes. The bloodshot of the eyeball was attached to his white eyeball. He turned his head to look at the perceptual ninja, and said softly, speak. Zero. A chakra's super strong fluctuation is rushing to the frontline battlefield. At this speed, it is estimated that it will take less than half an hour to reach the frontline. Cool. Naruto sighed for a long time, and he knew that there must be no good thing, and sure enough, he really guessed it right again. Another strong wave of chakra? Who will it be this time? No one's ancestor has been resurrected, Naruto said in a deep voice. The perceptual ninja shook his head and said, I don't know about this. Do I need to tell the ninja coalition on the front line? What's the situation on the front line now? Naruto greeted. Not too optimistic. 2 Uchiha Madara, plus a mask Madara, the ninja coalition forces completely occupied the bottom. The perception type recognizes the ninja. This super strong chakra fluctuates. Is it an enemy, or a friend? Naruto muttered, and finally he decided to report the news to the front line. 41 Uchiha hate. Extras. He secretly prayed in his heart, hoping that the super strong chakra wave could be his own. If he was the enemy, it is estimated that the frontline people would not be able to hold it. As soon as the people on the front line couldn't hold on, it became clear that the battle was over, and they lost in this war. What awaits them after their failure is death, or something else. Naruto has no idea. Snapped. At this moment, a sentient ninja next to Naruto suddenly fell to the ground. Naruto was stunned for a while, looked at the ninja in the ground, walked over quickly, lifted him up, and asked May 4-3 worriedly, are you alright? The ninja blinked his heavy eyelids, and then hesitantly said, no. It's okay, I'll make you laugh. It's obviously easier than the brothers on the front line, but it's such a thing. Naruto frowned and comforted. Don't worry too much, it's not very easy for us. You should go and rest first. I can continue to work. Without taking a break, the ninja broke away from Naruto, put his hands on the ground, and stood up staggeringly. Naruto also stood up, patted his shoulder, and said solemnly, it's okay, take a rest, wait for your body to recover and work well. You can't break down your body at this time, understand? The ninja blinked, and after thinking for a while, he replied, well, I'll rest for a while. Naruto nodded, then returned to his position and sat down on the stool, and then, like before, sighed, resting his heavy head in his hands, and fell into contemplation. After a long time, frontline. The 2 Uchiha Madara and Uchiha these 3 people can be said to be in the front line, completely occupying the upper hand, and Uzumaki Naruto has nothing to do. The original 5-moment shadows were also dying on the other side. Ninjas from other battlefields also rushed to the front line, but Hyuga Neji's troops hadn't arrived yet. Uchiha Madara sat on the rock, resting his head in one hand, looking at Uchiha Madara 1 and Uchiha Obito with a smile. Uchiha Madara 1 held a fan of weapons, looked at the ninja coalition in front of him attentively, and said to Uchiha Obito behind him, "I'll deal with 8 tails and 9 tails. Obito, you come and kill the 2 guys in front of you." The 2 guys in front of Uchiha Madara 1 are of course Kakashi and Guy. Uchiha Obito nodded. Immediately, Uchiha Madara jumped and quickly ran towards 9 tails, followed by 8 tails. Guy frowned and said, "Don't think about it." After saying that, he also jumped and chased towards Uchiha Madara 1. The only thing left is Uchiha Obito, the duel with Kakashi. "Obito, why did you become like this with this kind of guy?" Kakashi asked Uchiha Obito suspiciously. Uchiha Obito stared at Kakashi, his eyes revealed only anger. "He killed the person he loved most, Rin. If it weren't for him, Rin would not have died." "Kakashi, you have no right to ask me this," Uchiha Obito said in a deep voice. "What happened in the end? Why did you join forces with Uchiha?" Kakashi asked. Uchiha Obito revealed a look of disgust and said, "I have nothing to say to you. There is only this final battle." Uchiha Obito Mangekyo Sharingan opened his eyes, and in the Mangekyo Sharingan, countless shuriken flew out in an instant, and flew towards Kakashi rapidly. Kakashi was startled, then did a quick backflip, then slapped the ground with one hand. "King Dao, Chulubai." As soon as Kakashi finished speaking, a thick rock wall suddenly appeared in front of him. Bang bang bang. The countless shurikens were all nailed to the rock wall. Seeing this, Uchiha Obito, holding a large shuriken, strode over, directly piercing the rock wall, and pounced towards Kakashi. Kakashi was startled, and before he could react, Uchiha Obito's large shuriken stabbed directly into his abdomen. Ugh! Kakashi instantly leaked a ferocious expression, and the next moment, a mouthful of blood spilled from his mask. "Why?" Kakashi asked again. "Shut your mouth to me. You don't have the right to ask me why. You're just a liar." Uchiha Obito roared angrily. 4.2 A long time ago, Uchiha Obito sacrificed himself for Kakashi to escape, gave a Sharingan to Kakashi, and asked Kakashi to take care of Rin. However, at the back, Uchiha Obito was rescued by Uchiha Madara 1, and at one point, he heard White Zetsu say that they were in danger. Uchiha Obito went to support Kakashi despite everything, but what did he get? Got to see Kakashi running through Rin's chest. 42 Return, Shocked Ninja Coalition, Extras. It was at that moment that Uchiha Obito's Sharingan evolved into Mangekyo Sharingan. At that moment, his heart collapsed, and the image of Kakashi running through Rin with his hands filled his mind. Since then, he has known that he will never forgive Kakashi in his life, and when he sees Kakashi, he can't help but think of the picture at that time, and his inner anger will rush into his mind. Kakashi is very confused now. He doesn't know what happened to Uchiha Obito since then that made him what he is now. Didn't he once say that his goal was to become Hokage? But why is he partnering with Uchiha Madara now? For these reasons, Kakashi is very curious. "Why the hell are you like this?" Kakashi yelled, wishing he could wake up Uchiha Obito. But what he didn't expect was that Uchiha Obito seemed to be even more angry when he heard this, and on the side of his face, he drew out a large shuriken and waved it again. A sound. The large shuriken slashed directly into his abdomen. "I told you to shut up, you bastard who only plays tricks. You shouldn't be worse than a trash." Uchiha Obito roared angrily. Hearing this, Kakashi was stunned for a moment. In his mind, a picture suddenly appeared. When he was young, Uchiha Obito once said, "I think White Fang is a real hero." Indeed, in the ninja world. In the world, those who break the rules are called trash, but those who don't know how to cherish their partners are worse than trash. The clever Kakashi suddenly thought of something at this moment, frowned and asked, "Is it because of Rin?" As soon as Kakashi said this, it was obvious that Uchiha Obito's angry lips trembled, and he raised the shuriken in his hand to slash. Kakashi backed away desperately from the pain. "Lin, you don't have the right to mention it, Kakashi. Once I trusted you and gave you the ball, and you promised me, but later on, you did this. And you are not as good as trash." Uchiha Obito roared. When he said this, it was obvious that every word he said, the speed couldn't help speeding up a lot. "I'm really a bad guy, but Obito, you've always been a hero to me," Kakashi retorted. "The hero?" Uchiha Obito let out a helpless smile, then stepped forward and ran up, waving the shuriken in his hand and slashing towards Kakashi. La la la. In the blink of an eye, several scars appeared on Kakashi's body. Kakashi knelt on his knees on the ground, gasping for breath. Looking at Uchiha Obito, he couldn't help frowning, and said, I failed to keep the promise with you. I'm a person who is not even a waste man, but you are the hero of Konoha. There is no need for you to become like this." Uchiha Obito looked at Kakashi disdainfully, and the next moment, he couldn't help laughing loudly. This is the reality, whether it is the entrusted party or the entrusted party, as long as the ninjas who survive in this world will all become waste. You and I are a good example, Kakashi. Uchiha Obito smiled coldly, raised his shuriken and slashed towards Kakashi. Go to hell. Kakashi watched the shuriken approaching in front of him step by step. The distance between his pupils shrank, and at this critical moment, the hand of Nine Tails instantly grabbed Kakashi, and the next second Uzumaki Naruto grabbed Kakashi by his side. Crack! Uchiha Obito's shuriken slashed into the ground by itself, and the stones in the ground cracked instantly, and the debris splashed with the airflow. There was no doubt that if Uzumaki Naruto didn't catch Kakashi, Kakashi was doomed. Kakashi-sensei, are you alright? Uzumaki Naruto greeted worriedly. Kakashi frowned and said in a deep voice, fortunately, this injury is nothing. Kakashi-sensei, your Sharingan is already overloaded. You should rest first. Leave it to me here. Naruto said in a deep voice. Kakashi thought for a while and then said, no, I can still fight. Little Sakura jumped over quickly and said, Naruto, leave it to me here, and I'll treat Kakashi right away. Uzumaki Naruto nodded. Well, I'll leave it to you here. Uchiha Madara, who was above the rock, looked at the person below, and couldn't help but smile lightly. The next moment, he was suddenly startled, and then he quickly stood up, turned around, and looked in the direction in front of him. This mighty chakra, could it be that you are here, big brother? 43 Otsutsuki Black Zetsu's conspiracy, extras. Uchiha Madara said, his eyes fixed on the front. Not long after, he now saw Indra, but in the blink of an eye, behind Indra, he saw Orochimaru and them again. Uchiha Madara didn't care too much, just smiled faintly, then turned around and sat on the ground, looking at the ninja coalition below, as well as Uchiha Madara 1 and Obito. It seems that the eldest brother seems to be interested in this place, and it seems that there is finally something to do. There was a smile on Uchiha Madara's face at this moment. In fact, he was already hungry and thirsty. Before, he always sat here by himself and watched them fight, which made his heart itch. However, that Uchiha Madara didn't need to shoot himself, and just sat on top of the rock and watched them fight. Until just now, seeing him Indra's return, it is natural to know what will happen next. Playing by yourself is a must. After a while, several figures suddenly flashed in midair, and immediately jumped onto the rock where Uchiha Madara was sitting. Uchiha Madara stood up slowly and said to Indra with a smile on his face, big brother, you are back. Watching the Indra Six Paths mode, Uchiha Madara is no wonder, he has changed since he fought Senju Hashirama in the old world. At that time, he also heard from Indra that Senju Hashirama was enhanced by a man he called Sage of Six Paths, that is, his father, and obtained a power called Six Paths, whose state is somewhat similar to that of Indra at the moment. The back also has 9 truth-seeking balls, holding fairy weapons. When Uchiha Madara saw Uchiha Sasuke, he thought Uchiha Sasuke was Uchiha's Yuna at first glance, but the next moment, he knew that Uchiha Sasuke was not just a long image. After Uchiha Sasuke's group saw Uchiha Madara, their expressions became obviously not good, and their expressions became vigilant, and they looked at Uchiha Madara uneasy. Seeing their vigilance in their faces, Indra said, don't worry, this Uchiha Madara won't hurt you. This Orochimaru's group was stunned for a while, but they weren't too surprised by this. After all, not long ago, they heard that there is another one named Uchiha Madara, but wearing a mask. As for whether it is unknown. Indra nodded. Uchiha Madara looked at Uchiha Sasuke and the others with a deep look, and then asked Indra, that big brother, they? Except the Uchiha Madara below, Uchiha Sasuke is probably the last Uchiha tribe in this world, and now he is with us. Next, yesterday, naturally, we are going to do something big in this era, Indra said slowly. Uchiha Madara smiled coldly and added, in this era, since the Uchiha family has fallen to such a state, it's really shameful. Uchiha Sasuke frowned and said, aren't you also from the Uchiha clan? And the elder brother you mentioned is also from the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Madara was stunned for a moment, then looked at Indra and asked, brother, it seems that you haven't told him yet. What? Are you hiding something from me? Uchiha Sasuke asked curiously. The ancestor of the Uchiha family is my eldest brother. Yes, but, do you think he is named Uchiha like us? Uchiha Madara leaked a smile towards Uchiha Sasuke, with a hint of ridicule. Uchiha Sasuke didn't care too much, and then said in a deep voice, you are really interesting. The ancestors of the Uchiha family are not Uchiha. While speaking, Uchiha Sasuke also started taunting Madara. Indra lightly picked the two of them, and then said, enough, you two, it doesn't matter if they know what happened in the past. Uchiha Madara nodded and said, got it, big brother. Ban, you must know about Uchiha Madara's plan below. Indra then asked, well, I heard him say that it is Project Tsukuyomi, which opens the Sharingan of reincarnation, and releases infinite Tsukuyomi, which is used to control everyone in the world, unify the world, and create peace. I really want to see him in the end. How did this plan come about? Uchiha Madara said softly. After hearing about it, Indra laughed and said, what shit, Project Tsukuyomi, it's just that bastard's conspiracy. 11. The bastard that Indra is talking about is not referring to Uchiha Madara, but Otsutsuki Black Zetsu. Project Tsukinome is actually a series of plots by Black Zetsu to resurrect Otsutsuki Kaguya, and also deceive Ban and Obito et al. That fool Uchiha Madara 1 didn't even know he was being used by Black Zetsu until he died. 44. Project Tsukinome Extrash. Hearing what Indra said, Uchiha Madara couldn't react, and quickly asked, whose conspiracy? Before Indra could answer, Uchiha Madara quickly added, could it be that Uchiha Madara's conspiracy below? Looking at Uchiha Madara, whose expression changed in an instant, Indra chuckled softly and said gently, no, he was just blinded. In this war, the black hand of a certain queen is Otsutsuki Black Zetsu. Not only Uchiha Madara, but also Orochimaru and Uchiha Sasuke were stunned. Orochimaru and the others thought that Uchiha Madara was the biggest enemy in this battle, but after they heard Indra's words, they felt that it was not so simple. What Uchiha Madara wondered at the moment was that he also lived in this era at the same time as his eldest brother, because it should be said that he was in pure world reincarnation earlier than Indra. But why did he know so much? For this, Uchiha Madara couldn't help but greatly praised Indra. Uchiha Madara would never doubt Indra's words. Otsutsuki Black Zetsu, is it the same as the era before us? Uchiha Madara asked curiously. In the original era, Indra did not explain Otsutsuki Black Zetsu information to Uchiha Madara, so many things Uchiha Madara did not know. Yes, but I think this Black Zetsu should belong to this era, Indra said in a deep voice. Uchiha Madara nodded with a vague understanding. He had too many questions before, but now he just talked about this issue. Abek, just in time to ask Indra. He opened his mouth and said, brother, I'm curious, are the Otsutsuki family the ancestors of creation? Indra pondered for a while, and then said in a deep voice, it's not the ancestor of creation, but, when Otsutsuki Kaguya did not reach this world did not exist. Chakra, in other words, it can be said that Kaguya of the Otsutsuki clan is the ancestor of chakra. After hearing the word Otsutsuki Kaguya, Uchiha Madara's face changed slightly. He knew that Otsutsuki Kaguya was his eldest brother Indra's grandmother, and after listening to Indra's statement, he just realized that his eldest brother's job was such an awesome task. I didn't understand very well. At this time, Uchiha Sasuke asked. Indra turned her head and smiled meaningfully at Uchiha Sasuke. Kaido, you don't need to understand, you just need to know that the chakra you have attached to your body is the same as mine. Uchiha Madara was stunned for a moment, and said slightly surprised, brother, you mean that this boy Uchiha, who looks like Izuna, is your reincarnation just like me? Indra didn't answer in words, just nodded slightly. Hearing Uchiha Madara's words, Uchiha Sasuke was also shocked, and said solemnly, what? I am your reincarnation, but aren't you standing here alive and well? It's hard to say, and I don't want to give you an answer. Now, what you should know is that I have a younger brother named Otsutsuki Ashura, and the same is that the first Hokage generation was the reincarnation of my brother Ashura, and then Ashura's reincarnation, that is, Uzumaki Naruto. Uchiha Sasuke seemed to understand something, and replied, and your reincarnation is Uchiha Madara, and then it is me, right? Yes, Indra nodded. Then Kaido's, unfortunately, you don't think that I am a brother with Ashura, so I am very close. On the contrary, I regard Ashura as an enemy, otherwise there will be no Uchiha Madara and Sanju Hashirama. Uchiha Sasuke didn't seem to be too surprised, and immediately said, I already guessed this. Then, big brother, what shall we do next? Uchiha Madara asked, blocking Uchiha Madara 1's Project Tsukinome, because the so-called Project Tsukinome is just for Otsutsuki Black Zetsu to resurrect Otsutsuki Kaguya. Indra said in a deep voice. He doesn't want to cause unnecessary trouble, so if Uchiha Madara 1 doesn't stop on Project Tsukinome, then Indra will kill it without a doubt. For an Indra, killing Uchiha Madara is better than sealing it. Otsutsuki Kaguya is easy. Understood, Uchiha Madara said in a deep voice. Okay. The era of Uchiha is coming. Let's start. Indra grinned and said. Indra walked slowly to the edge of the rock, while Uchiha Madara stood on Indra's right, Uchiha Sasuke on the left, and Orochimaru they stood behind. In an instant, a shout came from the ninja coalition below. Look, who is standing above? 45. A new era has come. Extras, look at the top of the rock. As a ninja spoke, some people around them quickly looked up in the direction of the rock. The original ninja coalition in the 4th battlefield has basically been destroyed, so the ninja coalition in front of you may not have anyone who knows Indra. Who are they? A ninja coalition asked. I know. As the words fell, the people around turned their attention to him. It was a ninja from Konoha village who said this. His face changed slightly, he swallowed hard and said in a deep voice, the one above is Uchiha Sasuke, a traitor of Konoha, and the one on the other side is everyone. Known Uchiha Madara. As for the one in the middle, I don't know either. Uchiha Madara 1, who was fighting on the side, and Uchiha Obito also noticed something was wrong, and then separated a distance and looked up at Indra above the rock. After a while, He leaked a smile. But Uchiha Obito looked at Indra above the rock. But he was a little stunned, and thought to himself, who is this? Looking at you, you seem to know him. Uchiha Obito asked suspiciously, looking at Uchiha Madara-1, who was smiling. Uchiha Madara-1 glanced at Uchiha Obito, patted the dust of his armor, and said, no, it's just a one-sided relationship. Just looking at Uchiha Madara-1's tone, Uchiha Obito also roughly guessed that what Uchiha Madara said was the truth, so he stopped talking. But in my opinion, the guy who looks exactly like me and the guy who claims to be the ancestor of the Uchiha clan is very dangerous. Uchiha Madara-1 sneered. Hearing this, Uchiha Obito couldn't help but stunned. He blinked his eyes and looked at Uchiha Madara-1 then looked up at Indra deeply. He wanted to say something, but the words in his mouth were retracted. But when Uzumaki Naruto saw Indra, his face became more and more ugly, and the anger all over his body suddenly rose. Naruto, what's going on? Kakashi asked worriedly, looking at Uzumaki Naruto, whose face changed drastically. I'm really going to be mad at them. Sasuke seems to be with them, and he's here again, Naruto said in a deep voice, clenching his fists. He didn't know that it was time for Sasuke to be with Indra, or what Indra did to convince Sasuke to join him. Thinking of this, his heart was like being burned by fire, and he wanted to defeat Indra immediately. But when it was impossible, even a Uchiha Madara had already given them a headache, not to mention his ancestors. Who is he? Kakashi asked. This is the ancestor of the Uchiha clan I mentioned earlier. I don't know how it was reincarnated, Uzumaki Naruto said coldly. Obviously, after hearing Uzumaki Naruto's voice, not only Kakashi, but the expressions of the people around had a huge change. Resisting the fear, he looked at Indra and the others. After Indra glanced at them with both eyes, she said to Uchiha Madara in a deep voice, Ban, Project Tsukunomi is over. Uchiha Madara-1 obviously heard what Indra said, and immediately became unhappy. This plan was planned after a long time, and now Indra said it was over. How could he be happy? Zero. Ask for flowers. At this moment Uchiha Madara-1 can't care whether Indra is an ancestor or not. Kaido in a deep voice, impossible. Indra gave him a disdainful look, then chuckled. Do you think I'm discussing with you? You have no room for refutation. Uchiha Madara sneered, watched Indra take a step forward, and shouted, you mean, we are enemies from this moment, right? Indra's nonchalant Kaido, put away your little ignorance. What Project Tsukunomi? It's a conspiracy by Black Zetsu. At this moment, Uchiha Madara-1 couldn't hear what Indra said. He just smiled coldly. Of course, Indra wouldn't explain to him in detail. If he brought his little ignorance, Indra wouldn't mind destroying him. Big brother, leave the matter to me. After all, he is also your descendant. In fact, he is quite pitiful, Uchiha Madara said softly. Hearing this, Indra's brows couldn't help frowning. Indeed, everyone in the Uchiha clan is very pitiful. Madara, Obito, Shizui, Itachi and so on. In that case, leave it to you, Indra said solemnly. If, at the back, Uchiha Madara-1 can't wake up from his ignorance, there is no way, if you continue to perform Project Tsukunomi for him, Otsutsuki Kaguya will be resurrected. That's when it's a hassle again. 46 Kaguya's third son extra story. So if Uchiha Madara-1 doesn't wake up, then Indra will destroy him. They seem to be arguing. Kakashi looked at Uchiha Madara-1, and said something to Uzumaki Naruto next to him. Yeah, it's better if they just fight each other, it will save a lot of things. Naruto replied. Now he really can't wait for Indra to fight with Uchiha Madara-1. In the end, both sides are injured. He followed the ninja coalition to go out and end this ninja war. In any case, this is very beneficial to us. Kakashi's dignified face before was May 47, and now he relaxed a lot. He knew that if things really went as they thought, the odds of winning this war would go up a lot. Well, yeah. Uzumaki Naruto nodded in agreement. For a while, the ninja coalition did not launch an attack, staring intently at Indra and Uchiha Madara-1. At this moment, the surrounding atmosphere is very depressing, as if time freezes. Tap tap. Uchiha Madara slowly walked towards Uchiha Madara-1, while Uchiha Madara-1 was thinking about countermeasures, and Uchiha Obito seemed a little confused. At this moment, in the mud, a guy whose body was half white and half black suddenly appeared. His eyes glanced at Uchiha Madara, just about to say something, but immediately noticed something was wrong, and looked at Indra above the rock. He was stunned for a moment, shocked for a moment, and then overjoyed in his heart. Indra is resurrected. Black Zetsu stared at Indra and said excitedly. At this moment, Black Zetsu didn't realize that this Indra was not the Indra he had fooled. The appearance of Indra made him excited. He seemed to feel that the resurrection of his mother was approaching step by step. Naturally, Indra noticed Black Zetsu. The corners of her mouth lifted slightly, and she muttered, "It seems that it was God who helped me, who sent me to the door." Black Zetsu was overwhelmed, and the plan in his heart changed immediately. It was Uchiha Madara-1, and now he changed it to Indra. Because Indra is a shortcut in his eyes, he already has the power of 6 paths. As long as he absorbs his divine tree, His plan to resurrect his mother has been completed 99%. Thinking of this, Black Zetsu couldn't help but secretly smiled and walked towards Indra. Black Zetsu, what are you doing? Uchiha Madara-1 asked suspiciously. Black Zetsu let out a strange laugh, and then said, of course I do what I want to do. I advise you not to go there. Be careful, he kills you. Uchiha Madara-1 ordered. Kill me, what should I say? Without me, he still doesn't know the purpose of his eyes. Black Zetsu said solemnly. In the original book, Indra's Sharingan was indeed opened under the influence of Black Zetsu, so in Black Zetsu's eyes, he is his teacher. Seeing Black Zetsu walking in Indra's direction, Uchiha Madara stepped out decisively. What do you want to do when you walk in the direction of my elder brother? Before Black Zetsu could say anything, Indra immediately said, Madara, let him come up. Uchiha Madara nodded, then backed down, letting Black Zetsu walk past Zero. After a while, Black Zetsu walked over to Indra. You should remember me, Black Zetsu asked Indra. Indra grinned. Kaido, you're talking about a memory that impresses me a bit, otherwise I really can't remember it. I made you understand the real purpose of your eyes. I should be your teacher. Aha! Black Zetsu let out a harsh laugh. Indra, teacher? Black Zetsu nodded. Indra smiled. The word teacher doesn't seem right. Black Zetsu didn't care and said, it doesn't matter, it's just a title, as long as you remember me. Indeed, his goal is not to ask Indra to call him who he is, he just wants Indra to remember himself and let him know that he is with him. As for everything else, it doesn't matter. No, the name must not be wrong, or it would be disrespectful. You say so, Uncle Otsutsuki? Black Zetsu, Indra said softly, a smile on her face. But Black Zetsu is different in 4.2. When he heard Indra's words, his back suddenly froze, but he didn't panic, and tentatively said, Otsutsuki Black Zetsu. Ha ha ha, that's a nice name, but you're wrong. My name is Black Zetsu. How can I get it wrong? You are not the third son of Otsutsuki Kaguya. I call you uncle. That's right. Indra's face changed, and the previous smile had disappeared. 47. You are really ignorant, Madara. Extras. Black Zetsu froze for a moment, sweat dripping from his cheeks. What Indra said really scared him this time. He subconsciously took a few steps back, looked at Indra in shock, and said solemnly, Why do you know these things? Indra looked at Black Zetsu disdainfully and said, why can't I know? Black Zetsu's whole body trembled involuntarily, and continued to add, it's impossible, even Yui doesn't know, why would you know? His voice was hoarse, and it seemed that he was frightened by what Indra said. He doesn't know, shouldn't he not allow me to know? Indra sneered and added, I not only know this, I also know that the stone tablet left by Sage of Six Paths, the content was changed by Uo-1. Well, how else would Ben say that infinite Tsukuyomi is a technique that brings eternal peace to people? Hearing this, Black Zetsu's face became more and more ugly and a little confused. He had always been watching others behind the scenes, but he didn't expect that behind him, there was still a pair of eyes staring at him. Before, he provoked Indra to duel with Ashura, and he was kept in the dark until he died. But why is he suddenly resurrected here, and he has mastered so much information about himself? Suddenly, an idea flashed in Black Zetsu's mind. The only thing that made sense was that he didn't die in the past. Looks like you already know all about it, Black Zetsu said to Indra with a sneer, not backing down. I know it's more than that. You tampered with the content of the stone tablet, keeping the Uchiha family in the dark for generations, making them think that infinite Tsukuyomi is an art that can bring eternal peace, and infinite Tsukuyomi is not an art that gives people dreams of peace. It's for the purpose of gathering the chakra that everyone has and making it huge, all for Kaguya. Are you saying I'm wrong? Black Zetsu, Indra said slowly. Black Zetsu's heart started to panic. He never imagined that since the appearing Indra knew of his conspiracy. He also knew at this moment that only the Uchiha Madara, who was kept in the dark by him, could save him. Uchiha Madara. It's ridiculous to think that Black Zetsu was created by himself, by his will. Sizzle. In Indra's hands, a black stick appeared out of nowhere, and when it reached a certain length, Indra broke it. Give up your resistance. Black Zetsu, you're finished, Indra said in a deep voice. Black Zetsu took a few steps back slowly, ready to seize the gap and take the opportunity to escape. Don't try to run away, you can't run away, Indra told him. What are you doing? Uchiha Madara-1 yelled at Indra. Indra turned her head, stared at Uchiha Madara and shouted, shut up, you bastard. Uchiha Madara's brows furrowed. When he used to be the only one who called others trash, but now he is being called trash by others, and he must not feel good in his heart. Black Zetsu seemed to sense that the time had come, and immediately wanted to dive into the ground, only to hear a click, and a black rod penetrated directly through his abdomen, sealing his Zaku points. Indra's eyes were cold. She turned her head and said in a deep voice, I said, Black Zetsu, you can't escape. Bastard. Black Zetsu cursed Indra. Arsehole. Ah, I don't seem to have you arsehole. Indra sneered. A black stick appeared in the palm of his hand again, reaching a certain length. Indra broke it again, and the following sound ran through his body again. After a while, Black Zetsu's body was carrying dozens of black sticks. Of course, Not every stick was to seal his AQ points, but Indra turned him into a hedgehog. 550 inches Indra. Black Zetsu growled. Don't call that name. My body can't help tearing you to shreds when I hear that name. Indra looked at Black Zetsu with a look of disgust. Having said that, Indra turned around again, looked at Uchiha Madara 1 underground, and said, now you know, what you call Project Tsukinomi is just a conspiracy of this bastard. Here's my will. I created it. You are just saying that I am ignorant. Uchiha Madara 1 said with a frown. Listening to this, Indra couldn't help but burst out a foul language. I'm stepping. You're putting water in your head. How ignorant you are. What did you create, Black Zetsu? This thing has outlived you for too long. Even longer than me. 48 Not a saint, not doing good deeds. Extra article. Why do you keep blocking me? Uchiha Madara 1 yelled angrily at Indra, the boss, with his eyes wide open, as if his eyes were about to fall out. With the roar of Uchiha Madara, blue chakra appeared on his body, and in the blink of an eye, Suzu appeared completely. Uchiha Madara firmly believes in his own will, and he is convinced that infinite Tsukuyomi is the art of bringing eternal peace. Since you want to stop me, then you are my enemy of Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara stood inside Suzu and shouted in a deep voice. He has been completely brainwashed. Yes, you wake him up, otherwise, I will blow him up with my own hands. Indra said softly towards Uchiha Madara below. Uchiha Madara nodded and said, I see. Big brother, leave it to me here, you can do what you want. Saying that, Uchiha Madara also wore blue chakra, and in the blink of an eye, a complete Su 550 Sanu appeared. Ah, Indra, you didn't think that Uchiha Madara 1 didn't believe what you said. At this time, Black Zetsu couldn't help but sarcastically sneered at Indra. Indra looked at Black Zetsu's back with disdain, and then sneered, so what? If it doesn't work in the end, I will kill him completely. Indra, wake up, what you see is the most real thing. Back then, you was afraid of Kaguya's power to do such a cruel thing. Why don't we join forces? Black Zetsu slowly moved towards Indra said. He held on to the last glimmer of hope, trying to brainwash Indra. Joining forces, are you qualified to talk to me about joining forces now? Indra sneered, of course not taking his cues. Whether you are qualified or not, you only need to know that the path I lead you is the most correct. Black Zetsu said in a deep voice. Another black stick appeared in Indra's palm, and with a wave, it was inserted into his forehead again. Don't say it's so great. You think I don't know what's on your mind? Indra, Black Zetsu shouted angrily again. Enough, shut up, you are just like that Sanjuto Birama. What you say is disgusting. Indra said in a deep voice, and then a black stick appeared in the palm again, and Indra threw it towards his head, and penetrated directly from the back to his mouth. Leave him speechless. What do you lead me to take the most correct path? I tell you, every step I take now is the most correct. I am not a saint, I do not do good deeds, I will kill anyone who wants to stand in my way. Indra looked at the back of Black Zetsu replied. Indra's ideal is very simple, just want to live comfortably. But whoever wants to break his comfort, the world must accept the consequences. For example, people in this era have resurrected themselves with reincarnation, and now this era must accept the arrival of Indra. At this time, Uchiha Sasuke walked slowly, back, to Indra and said softly, now, what should we do? Indra thought for a while, then turned around, facing the ninja coalition behind Suzu, and said, of course, let those bastards who cry for justice all day try to despair. Now, Indra is probably disgusted by the group of ninja coalition forces, especially Uzumaki Naruto, who is always self-righteous, always saying that he wants to protect his partners, and a look of righteousness. Since he wants to be just like that, then it's okay. Indra is evil. Uchiha Sasuke nodded and was about to act when Indra reached out to stop him the next moment. I'll take you there, Indra said in a deep voice, and then with a wide eye, a Uzumaki appeared out of thin air, and stopped when she knew it was the size of a person. You just walk in and you reach them, Indra explained. Uchiha Sasuke nodded and walked in without speaking. Indra thought for a moment, then turned to Orochimaru and said, did you go? Orochimaru was stunned for a moment, then nodded and walked in. Indra of course he followed. With a bald head at the end of Uzumaki, Indra came to the ninja coalition in the next second. When the ninja allied forces saw this scene, their expressions changed greatly, and they subconsciously took a few steps back. Uzumaki Naruto frowned and said in a deep voice, Sasuke, what happened? Why did you follow him? Uchiha Sasuke did laugh disdainfully, and said impatiently, shut your mouth, I will take revenge on Konoha. Konoha did such a thing, and anyone who changed it would be angry. Sasuke, shut up. Uchiha Sasuke pulled out the long sword from his waist with a blank expression. 49 Indra and Guy, extras with an AK. Uchiha Sasuke dashed towards Uzumaki Naruto with a flicker of cold light. Kakashi was stunned for a while. His Sharingan had also cooled down a bit, and he could basically continue to use it reluctantly. Just when he opened Sharingan, suddenly, he flew upside down. And then Indra said in a deep voice, children are fighting, What are you doing as an adult? Kakashi-sensei. Haruno shouted out to Uzumaki Naruto. I saw Uzumaki Naruto's eyes darkened and a flash of cold light flashed. Uzumaki Naruto instantly recovered his senses, and the hand of Nine Tails appeared from his body in an instant. Boom. Two golden hands firmly grasped Uchiha Sasuke's long sword. Sasuke, why are you with him? Naruto said in a deep voice. Haruno on the side was stunned. Uchiha Sasuke, who she liked since childhood, has now become an enemy, and she really can't bear to attack. While thinking, Haruno's face was obviously sweaty, and the kunai in his hands began to tremble. The next moment, she made a decision. Sasuke. I saw Haruno shouted, and then swung towards Uchiha Sasuke with a wave of kunai. At this moment, suddenly saw Indra knock on the Six Paths tin stick in his hand, and instantly an invisible force formed a powerful airflow. Directly sent Haruno to the shock. Of course, Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto were also affected a little, and after that moment they were separated for a distance. I won't say it a third time. If anyone interferes in their battle, next time, I will destroy him, Indra said to the Ninja Coalition. As soon as Indra finished speaking, the face of the allied ninja army changed drastically, subconsciously taking a few steps back from Indra's haki, and trembling involuntarily. Kakashi and Haruno climbed up from the ground, then jumped to Uzumaki Naruto's side again. Their faces were very ugly. Naruto, it looks like we can't help you. The man behind Sasuke is terrible. Kakashi frowned and said. Haruno said a word. It is conceivable that her heart is very sad. Uzumaki Naruto chuckled. Don't worry, little Sakura, I promised you that I will definitely bring Sasuke back to Konoha. Haruno was stunned and looked at Uzumaki Naruto with wet eyes for a long time, unable to say a word. Okay, I'm going. Uzumaki Naruto clasped his fists with both hands, and above the back, there appeared several hands of Nine Tails. I saw the hand of Nine Tails swayed. Spiral Shuriken. Uzumaki Naruto threw it towards Uchiha Sasuke, and he quickly followed behind. Uchiha Sasuke looked at the fast Spiral Shuriken. The three-hook jade in his eyes turned at a high speed, and suddenly turned into a hexagonal star, and this is the eternal Mangekyo. At this moment, Uchiha Sasuke emitted a purple light, a huge arm with only bones, and hit the Spiral Shuriken. Monument. The Spiral Shuriken made by Uzumaki Naruto was not very big, so it was knocked off by Uchiha Sasuke's Suzu in a few strokes. Right after the Spiral Shuriken was shot into the air, right in front of Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto held a super large Rasengan, shouted loudly, and lunged directly at Uchiha Sasuke's Suzu. Zero asking for flowers. Uchiha Sasuke's face changed and Suzu, who was in his original form, changed in an instant and changed into his second form. The foundation of the skeleton is covered with meridians and flesh and blood, and it is wrapped in a coat like chakra, which can unlock the curse and use its own weapons and ninjutsu, such as Yata Mirror, bow and arrow, etc. This type of Suzu is the best in terms of balance, and in the original, Uchiha Madara and Sasuke used this form a lot before gaining the power of the Six Paths. At the same time, Suzu in this state can use the general long-range attack ninjutsu, Yasaka no Guru. Boom. Uzumaki Naruto's super large Rasengan directly hit Suzu's body, but the effect was not very great. Uchiha Sasuke controlled Suzu to draw his sword, and with a slam, he slashed at Uzumaki Naruto with the sword. At this time, Uzumaki Naruto also quickly changed to Nine Tails mode. Indra stood in the back quietly watching Uchiha Sasuke. At this moment, the shadows flying all over the sky flashed quickly, and the ninja coalition surrounded Indra and Orochimaru. At the top Argai and Kakashi. Seeing this, Orochimaru immediately prepared to attack, but at this moment, Indra reached out his hand to stop it, and said gently, "You don't need to go up. This swarm of ants is handed over to me." Saying that, Indra looked at the ninja coalition. 50 G's sixth gate full opening. Extras. When the ninja coalition was seen by Indra like this, they immediately became terrified, and subconsciously took a few steps back, sweat dripping from their cheeks. Scared, but they didn't run away because they were here to deal with Indra. "Don't mess yourself up," Kakashi said in a deep voice to the ninja alliance behind him. Kakashi is right, we have to face even a strong enemy. Guy clenched his fists, facing Indra without any fear. "Go on, leave Indra to me and Guy, and you will deal with Orochimaru and the others." Kakashi shouted 553, white lightning suddenly appeared in his hand, and then ran towards Indra's. Guy quickly followed suit, running towards Indra side by side with Kakashi. Indra grinned and drank. Too confident is not a good thing. In the blink of an eye, Guy has come to Indra's side, dancing his body and attacking Indra's acupuncture points. Kakashi followed, attacking with Reikiri, looking for opportunities. Indra didn't pay any attention to the two physical attacks of them, and took it easily. "You've always shot. Now it's me," Indra said in a deep voice, and after receiving Guy's blow, she raised her foot and kicked Guy fiercely. Guy quickly blocked it with his hands and flew out in an instant. At the same time, Indra used his mind to control a truth-seeking ball behind him, and the truth-seeking ball flew directly to the front, and then with a boom sound, like a bullet, it flew directly towards Guy, who was flying upside down. Kakashi saw that something was wrong, and the originally closed eye opened quickly and shouted, "Kamui!" Just as his voice fell, Guy also disappeared instantly and went to the other side. However, in Kakashi's Sharingan, bright red blood immediately poured out. "Guy, don't hit this black bead, or the consequences will be unimaginable," Kakashi told Guy. "Understood. It seems that this guy is not only strong in chakra, but also super strong in physique," Guy replied after hearing Kakashi's words. "Hey, so you must not take it lightly, otherwise, we will die," Kakashi said solemnly. "It's at this point now, it can't be like this anymore," Guy said, wrinkled. Kakashi was startled, and the next second he thought of what Guy was going to do. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Kakashi asked. Guy smiled at Kakashi indifferently and said, "It's not impossible." Saying that, Guy clenched his fists and shouted loudly, "All doors open." Guy, a part of the blood vessels in the head is steeled, and the skin color is gradually darkening, preparing for the opening of the door, and the fighting power remains unchanged. This is the state of Guy. The second gate is fully open. The blood vessels in the head continue to thicken, the physical strength recovers rapidly, the complexion continues to darken, and the combat effectiveness remains unchanged. This is Guy's state 2. The sixth gate is fully open. Guy, his whole body is completely surrounded by green gas. When he exerts force, he can drain the water around him and form a deep pit. The combat power is 20 times that of normal. This is Guy's state 6. Go! Guy stopped driving down when he reached the sixth gate, and then stepped on the ground, and the rock on the ground shattered instantly. It turned into lightning-like speed and rushed towards Indra. Blink of an eye. Indra's face went black for a moment, and then a fist went straight to both sides of her. "The speed is quite fast, but do you think you can deal with me like this?" The corner of Indra's mouth raised, and then she waved the Six Paths tin stick and slammed it down. Guy immediately found out that something was wrong, and immediately turned over and ducked. Guy didn't take it lightly, and kicked Indra again. Snapped. Indra grabbed Guy's foot with one hand, then let out a sneer at him, then dug him up and smashed him hard on the ground. Boom, boom. The rocks on the ground shattered instantly, and the debris flew away with the airflow, filling the surroundings. After smashing it for a while, the world of Indra threw it hard. Research, another sound. The smoke and dust 4.2 scattered in an instant. Just when Kakashi was also breaking into a cold sweat for Guy suddenly ran out. "One day peacock!" Guy shouted. Towards the peacock, the sixth gate's full opening trick. The speed of punching is fast enough to rub against the air to produce flames. In the original book, Guy once killed the ghost Jiao double, 30% chakra, in an instant. Ask for a wave of subscriptions. Ask for a wave of subscriptions. There was a typhoon at home and there was no electricity. I wrote this chapter on my mobile phone. I am not used to writing on my mobile phone. It took me a long time to write a chapter,